If you've ever been excited that we are back, and we are so back, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. We are back after our vacation summer hiatus, and actually, just me and 13 are back. Producer's still on vacation, so we're running this show with no producer. I'm producing, which means get into those comments, folks. I'll do nothing to control you here today. I hope that you all had a wonderful time. Took some time away. What's new? Well, another all-time high. Drone stocks are making some news here this morning. Awesome. Space has been on fire. Data centers and AI still the primary driver. Today, we wait for jobless claims and PCE, so we've got some data to welcome us back. Got some more trading to do. Now, Tuesday is normally our T3 Tuesday, but because of the vacation, we are doing a special T3 Thursday here today. So look forward to bringing that guest to you here today. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Thursday edition for May 28th, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I've already screwed up once. I had the chat overlaid during the opener, which I guess is normally not the case, but that's all right. Producer's not here to know, so we're going to be okay. It is great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. I will say, as great as my vacation was, it is great to be back. I am straight up addicted to this market. I love hanging out and trading with you folks. So we're back, and we're going to wrap up the week here today. Reaching financial freedom is going to be first here today. Welcome back, buddy. Good morning. Solitary Soldier, welcome back. Glad you're back. Glad to be back. That's just how it goes. Zach McCracken, good morning. Welcome back. Good morning to the Benzie gang. My daily lessons are back. Hopefully your daily green arrows as well, Zach. Hopefully you are well. Will Ondas finally break and hold 12? Let's see. Indeed, we really need this breakout. 1160, 1165 seems to be the level that it really needs to hold. I'll summarize that news here in a little bit. That's coming here. We'll see. It looks like it's in breakout mode. We've had several failed breakouts, so can we do it today? I'm excited. We will see. Zach also said, hope you had a good and refreshing time. And indeed, I did. And I'll make this very quick for those early birds that are here. Big Cedar, if you like golf, Big Cedar is something special. The Ozarks are gorgeous, and this golf course and layout and spot in the world is just absolutely spectacular. I had an absolutely wonderful time. Played a new course there at Big Cedar, which was awesome. Saw my friend and his wife and his kid. Played golf when I was back here. It was absolutely awesome. So appreciate it, Zach. But we're rested and ready to go. That's important. Whisk, good morning. Welcome back. Derek, great to see you again. Welcome back. G-Cord, likewise. Good morning. Welcome back. Free Diddy tomorrow. Good morning. It's great to see you again. Linda, welcome back. Good to see you. Positive Trader. Good morning, Rich. Welcome back. It's great to see you. Brazali, good evening from Denmark. Hopefully all is well in Denmark. Good evening to you, and thanks for joining us. Welcome back. Matthew, good morning. Welcome back. Lego. We are off and running. Ed, we missed you, buddy. Good morning and welcome back. We missed you too. Just passing through. It's great to see you as always. Carlos, good morning. Welcome back. We can navigate this? Yeah, we absolutely can. We absolutely can. Acorns, good morning. Snow jumped. Snow is soaring here today. And thankfully, it's the company and not snow outside, because summer is here and we don't need any more snow. That is for sure. Snow is soaring. They reported earnings. They got an Amazon Web Services deal. We're going to break that down like a fraction. Alvin, good morning. Welcome back. Wes says, Ryan, I didn't know you were going there. That's sick. Wes, you want to know what's sick? This is my second time at Big Cedar. I still haven't played Paynes Valley because it's like $500 a round. And my buddy is like, we were kind of waiting and saving for that. My buddy found out that if you live within 100 miles of Big Cedar, you get a resident discount, and it's like $250 a round. So the next time I'm going back there, we're playing the big boy. So get ready for pictures from Paynes Valley. But I'll tell you what, even if you don't golf, just simply going to the grounds, eating in the restaurant, enjoying the scenery, I mean, it is spectacular. It is a bucket list item for sure. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Welcome back. Darkside Hemi, good morning. Welcome back. There's Brandy. Let's go, Brandy. Good morning. Welcome back. Good to see you, my man. Tyler, good morning. Welcome back. And Mensgate, good morning. Welcome back. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures slightly in the red here. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's get the chat off here. How do I get the chat off, though? There we go. There we go. Futures up. Futures in the red here this morning after our new all-time high that was set yesterday. S&P futures down 0.25%, minus 0.25% here. Dow futures down 0.21%, and the NASDAQ leading the way lower at minus 0.38%. Let's take a look at some cues from last session here. Let's go ahead and get the article spun up here. Sectors that gained and lost on Wednesday include consumer staples and consumer discretionary stocks, which closed the session higher, while energy, financials, and utility stocks recorded the biggest losses, as most sectors on the S&P 500 closed on a negative note. U.S. stock futures fell on Thursday after a higher close on Wednesday. All indices ended marginally higher, but the small cap index, the Russell 2000, declined. As U.S. officials, speaking anonymously to Reuters, said American forces struck an Iranian ground control station in Bandar Abbas that was allegedly preparing to launch attack drones. The official also said U.S. forces shot down four one-way drones that posed a threat near the Strait of Hormuz. Quote, these actions were measured, purely defensive, and intended to maintain the ceasefire, the official said. We'll see if that works. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.5%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.05%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show that the markets are pricing in a 99.1% likelihood of the Federal Reserve leaving the current interest rates unchanged during the June meeting. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you, and the first one is definitely going to be snow. This is probably unless you're in the drone theme, this is probably the big mover of the day here. Snowflake, just an absolute monster move. Ticker SNOW surged 35.05% in the pre-market on Thursday after reporting upbeat financial results for the first quarter of fiscal 2027. Snowflake posted first quarter revenue of $1.39 billion, which came in ahead of the analyst estimate at $1.32 billion. The next stock on our list here is going to be Salesforce, and the ticker is CRM. It was 1.86% lower as soft guidance and legacy weakness overshadowed a massive first quarter earnings beat. Okay, articles jumping around here a little bit. Next stock on our list is going to be Marvell Technologies. This has been an absolute monster for our group here. The ticker is MRVL. It declined 2.11% as it expects second quarter adjusted EPS of 88 cents to 98 cents. That was versus the 90-cent analyst estimate. And it expects revenue in a range of 2.57 to 2.84 billion. And that was versus the analyst estimate of 2.6 billion. The next stock on our list, my favorite store, it is Costco. The ticker is COST, and it was up 0.35% as it's scheduled to post quarterly earnings after the closing bell today. Analysts expect earnings of $4.93 per share on revenue of $69.73 billion. The last stock on our list is going to be ticker HPQ, and this is HP Inc. It was 1.65% lower despite beating street estimates on the top and bottom lines. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart. Here we go. Now, it's been a bit since we've been together on the SPY chart. Where are we at? Well, we broke out. We continued to melt up, which is what we called it during that time. Pulled back a little bit here. Did not quite get to the 20, but honestly, this is the type of action that we want to see on when we reach new highs. We want to see a little bit of a breather and then a move back higher. And that is exactly what we got. Now, Yesterday, we did technically set a new all-time high as we broke above the candle from Thursday, May 14th. The question is going to be, do we pull back from here? Does this kind of make like a little bit of a double top, or is this now the new target here? So looking at key levels here, the upside key level, this is definitely going to be the all-time high. I've got that at 752.13. Looks like we're kind of running into some resistance here at 750 in the pre-market. So I'd probably put that ahead of it, just the round 750 number, and then the all-time high there at 752.13. Probably going to be our upside levels. Downside levels, I'm thinking here 745 is going to come into play here today. This basically coincides with the top of Thursday, May 21st, and the bottom of Friday, May 22nd. This area looks like it formed or gave some resistance back in the middle of May. So I would imagine this would be the first spot, but the real big spot's going to be that 20-day moving average. If we do pull back again, my inclination is that we would actually test the moving average. In other words, I don't think that we would pull back and do one of these where we don't quite hit it. I would actually expect us to print whatever value that 20-day moving average is. So I'd be looking at that for support if we do get a pullback. We'll see what we get here today, as we are expecting the jobless claims here in 19 minutes. I'll bring that to you. I know we got a T3 guest coming as well, but I'll make sure to bring you the data print as well. I don't have the producer running some of the banners here for me today, so I'll share it on screen and I'll do my best to enunciate all of that. But this is what we're looking at with the SPY. We'll see what kind of day we get here today. If we want to take a peek inside, this is kind of what it looks like over the last several days. Yesterday was good, right? We gapped higher. We set that new all-time high. We did pull off of it, but we didn't really have this feeling of breaking down. We just kind of traded sideways. A little bit weaker here today, but this 748.5 level, this was the intraday low. Maybe add that again to the list of key levels here for the intraday trading today. So that's what I got for you on the SPY. Now let's go back and take a look at some insights from analysts. God, it's good to be back, folks. I got to tell you, it is good to be back. I felt like there was a piece of my life missing while we weren't doing this, and now we're back here. Insights from analyst Professor Jeremy Siegel maintains a bullish yet cautious outlook on the U.S. stock market and the economy, driven by resilient growth and abundant liquidity. He notes that the market is eyeing a potential Iran settlement, suggesting that if the Strait of Hormuz opens, investors should, quote, expect the market to continue its march upward as the momentum trade gathers strength, unquote. Siegel emphasizes that the broader economy is expanding solidly, supported by strong consumer spending and rising GDP estimates. However, this economic resilience, paired with a surge in liquidity, shifts the monetary policy landscape. Siegel warns that the, quote, the evidence points towards policy needing to remain restrictive for longer, end quote, especially as excess deposit growth implies that the financial system is accommodating inflationary pressures. Regarding market valuations, Siegel pushes back against the fears of a bubble. While chip and AI-related equity price in steep growth assumptions, he continues to, quote, resist broad claims that the Magnificent Seven are universally overvalued, end quote. And he cited their unprecedented cash generation. Ultimately, Siegel believes the macroeconomic backdrop remains favorable for equities, concluding that, quote, the bigger macro story remains the liquidity is still abundant and economic growth remains surprisingly firm, end quote. So we'll see. Are you cautiously optimistic? Are you terrified? Are you worried? What's the next move? Should probably run a poll. Again, I don't have the producer here, so I don't have polls for you here today, but I'd love to get your opinions from the group. Are you, in fact, cautious? Is it stopping you from making trades? Are you still raising cash? Let me know how you folks are approaching that. Okay, let's dive into Snowflake here real quick. Again, probably the big mover of the overnight session here is this thing is up. Let's actually check here real quick. We'll go back here to Pro real fast. We'll punch in Snow and we'll take a quick check-in. It is still holding higher by 38.3%, 242 here on Snow. Just in fact, let's take a look at the chart before we dive into the story here. The move today, impressive. Now, do we have more room here despite it trading up nearly 40%? Well, gosh, folks, if we look at this trend line that we plotted from its all-time high back in 2020, sure looks like that might be the next spot. No, big move here today. We popped above the 200-day. We popped above the 184 level. We are approaching this trend line. I got that value up there at 265. Stock's already up a whole bunch here, so be careful if you're going to trade this here today. But nice little move here in snow. Now let's actually take a look at some of the earnings here for this. Snowflake, ticker SNOW, their shares skyrocketed over 35% in pre-market trading on Thursday after the AI data cloud provider crushed first quarter fiscal 2027 expectations, upgraded its full-year growth outlook, and announced a massive $6 billion multi-year infrastructure agreement with Amazon, ticker AMZN, to use their web services. The blowout quarter represents a pivotal shift that Patrick Moorhead, chief analyst at More Insight Strategy, awesome name, by the way, said can fundamentally re-rate the data platform story, signaling that enterprise AI product adoption is finally lifting corporate trajectories rather than just driving a market narrative. Now, the big thing for me on this, and we're going to have to watch this over the next several quarters probably, this to me shows that some of these software companies, AI is not going to kill them. It is indeed going to make them stronger. And we've actually kind of been going back and forth on this. The SaaS apocalypse, is AI going to kill software names? No, probably not, especially some of the better ones. And this is the first indication that we are getting out on this. Snowflake's first quarter revenue climbed 33% year over year to $1.39 billion, which handedly beat Wall Street's estimate of $1.32 billion. On the back of this accelerated momentum, management lifted its full-year fiscal 2027 product revenue guidance to $5.84 billion. This represents a 31% year-over-year growth. Quote, AI continues to be a powerful tailwind for Snowflake, and Q1 marks a clear inflection point in that journey, end quote. That came from Snowflake CEO Sridhar Ramaswamy. Central to this upgraded revenue trajectory is the new $6 billion Amazon Web Services commitment designed to accelerate enterprise AI adoption while optimizing cloud compute cost. Ramaswamy emphasized that Snowflake is quickly becoming a, quote, circulatory system, end quote, of modem enterprises anchoring data workflows through tools like Cortex Code or Cocoa and Snowflake Intelligence. Cocoa went general interest in February and has rapidly scaled to over 7,100 active accounts, proving to be a massive catalyst for core platform consumption. Now, beyond the top line expansion, Snowflake delivered substantial operational discipline that thrilled investors. The firm's non-GAAP operating margin expanded over 300 basis points year over year to 12%, prompting leadership to raise full-year operating margin guidance to 13.5%. Snowflake efficiency, adding only 17 organic, looks like we had a little hiccup there, adding over 17 organic hires during the quarter. Chief Financial Officer Brian Robbins highlighted a, quote, step function change, end quote, in the company's AI revenue opportunity. This combination of strict cost controls and surging software adoption provided exactly what the market demanded, according to Moorhead: high velocity growth, structurally reinforced by improving unit economics. So, man, oh man, Snowflake, massive move here today. Definitely want to get your folks' thought on where this can go. Do you think it can go to the 265? Do you think the 38% move really kind of begs for a little bit of a pullback or perhaps a break here? And if you have Snowflake here, I mean, I think at some point you got to take some gains, no? Maybe sell some upside calls against it if you're not sure. I don't know. That's just a huge move here. Back from the dead, as it may be. All right. Next story here is going to be about Micron. This is another one that has just been, I feel like we talk about these stocks literally every day, and with good reason. And Micron here, the rally is crazy. It looks wild, but there are some analysts out there that are saying that the numbers make sense. The numbers make sense. By the way, for anyone that I might have missed joining a little bit late here, first of all, thank you for being patient with us through our vacation. We definitely needed some summertime off. but we're energized and glad to be back. Samel, Kimosabi, Richard, Flag Drones, Corey, Astrokev, Ed, Lion, Janie, Knights Lance, and Brian. Good morning and welcome back. It's great to see you again. Thanks for being patient with us. Let me keep rolling here because Micron also going to be in deck here today. How are we doing on time? 10 minutes until our T3 guest and the data dump. Don't worry, folks. I'll get it all for you. I'll keep my eye on the clock. Micron Technology, ticker MU, is emerging as one of Wall Street's biggest AI winners thus far, with several analysts arguing that relentless spending on AI data centers and memory infrastructure could support further gains, even after the stock's massive rally. Intelligent Alpha founder CEO Doug Clinton told CNBC on Thursday that Micron's rapid rise still looks justified because the stock trades near 10 times forward earnings despite the explosive AI-driven growth. Speaking on CNBC's Closing Bell, Clinton argued that hyperscalers and enterprises are continuing to aggressively expand AI data centers, creating sustained demand for memory hardware across the broader sector. He said companies like Microsoft, ticker MSFT, are continuing to increase AI spending, supporting valuations for Micron, and rival memory chip makers. While Clinton acknowledged risks tied to the double ordering and supply constraints, he maintained that the broader AI infrastructure trade remains intact, even if semiconductor stocks experience periodic pullbacks. Okay, good to see. Deepwater Asset Management Managing Partner Gene Munster, that's a mouthful of a title, told CNBC on Wednesday that Micron, SK Hynix, and Samsung Electronics, which is ticker SSNLF, could continue benefiting from what he described as the, quote, second inning, end quote, of the AI infrastructure cycle. And if you remember back to a recent interview that we did with Sidney Armani, he said the same thing, that we're actually very, very early in this. It's nice to see some of those baseball analogies coming back to fruition. Speaking on CNBC's The Exchange, Munster said memory demand growth reflects a structural AI shift rather than a normal semiconductor boom and bust cycle. He highlighted Micron's accelerating revenue growth and cited Counterpoint Research projections showing broader DRAM revenue growth could reach 360%. Munster cautioned that maintaining future stock gains will become harder as expectations rise. However, he still viewed Micron and SK Hynix as attractively valued relative to their growth potential, citing Micron's roughly 9 times forward earnings multiple and SK Hynix 7 times multiple. Catalyst Fund's CIO David Miller told CNBC on Wednesday that Micron still looks attractive despite its massive rally because the stock continues trading below 10 times forward earnings. Speaking on CNBC's Power Lunch, Miller argued that Micron's valuation remains compelling relative to the broader technology sector and S&P 500, even after the stock surged more than 800% in the past year. Eye-popping numbers, folks. He also pointed to Broadcom, ticker AVGO, as another major AI infrastructure beneficiary, citing its exposure to hyperscaler AI chips, networking infrastructure, and enterprise software. Miller added that Amazon Web Services and advertising business continue demonstrating how AI-linked businesses can generate strong margin expansion and earnings growth. Morningstar senior analyst William Kerwin pushed back against the increasingly bullish AI narrative surrounding Micron and other memory chip makers, and he did this to CNBC yesterday. Speaking on CNBC's Fast Money, Kerwin argued that investors currently price Micron as though AI demand will permanently eliminate semiconductor cyclicality. While he still views the current environment as unusually strong, but ultimately a temporary upcycle. He warned that Micron, Samsung, SK Hynix, and Chinese suppliers are all aggressively expanding capacity, potentially creating an oversupply risk beginning in late 2027 and accelerating into 2028. I'm going to pause right there because this is something that we have been discussing in Happy Hour since these memory stocks started moving. The natural reaction to this is, think of it like the pendulum, right? This is the pendulum swinging back and forth. We need a ton of memory chips. The supply is shortage. So what do all the companies do? Well, they ramp production. They can't do it overnight. So it takes some time. So before you know it, that pendulum is swinging back in the other direction. This is exactly what Kerwin is explaining right now. And kudos to him, because what he's doing is he's attaching dates to that. Late 2027, that's late next year, folks. And then an acceleration into 2028. We'll see if that timeline is right. I appreciate that call because of its specificity. Kerwin said even modest oversupply could sharply pressure pricing because memory chips remain largely commoditized products with multiple interchangeable suppliers. So we'll see where it ends up going. Okay, how much time do I have? 5 minutes. Market is good. Guest is going to be ready to go. We should be all set. Let's cruise through this Marvell story. Another big time winner. Another big time winner here for our group. Marvell CEO says the data center business is on fire. You know, I'll tell you what, I'm glad he said that because I had no idea otherwise. Anyway, Marvell Technologies, ticker MRVL. Stock is trading lower in the pre-market trading here on Thursday. Really quick before I dive into any more of this, if anyone has buy spots for Micron today for a potential trade, because we've seen a lot of these stocks bounce, let me know. I think the group would probably appreciate that too. The chipmaker reported first quarter results that narrowly topped Wall Street estimates and issued upbeat long-term growth projections tied to the AI infrastructure demand. The stock faced broader pressure from a weaker pre-market backdrop for technology shares as traders locked in profits following Marvell's sharp rally over the past year. That would be putting it mildly. NASDAQ futures were down 0.47%, and the S&P futures slipped about 0.25%, with the momentum-driven semiconductor stocks underperforming amid a broader risk-off tone. Marvell shares have gained more than 207% over the past 12 months. Now, Marvell reported adjusted earnings of 80 cents per share, which exceeded analyst consensus estimates of 79 cents per share. That was according to Benzinga Pro. Revenue rose 28% year over year and 9% sequentially to $2.42 billion. That was slightly ahead of estimates at $2.4 billion. The growth was driven by continued strength in data center and AI infrastructure demand. Data center revenue reached a record $1.83 billion, increasing 27% from a year earlier and 11% from the prior quarter. The company said growth was supported by strong demand for interconnect, switching, custom silicon, and optical products. Chairman and CEO Matt Murphy said Marvell is experiencing, quote, an incredible growth period, end quote, and it's driven by surging AI-related demand. Quote, we're seeing record demand. We're seeing record bookings in the last few quarters. Our data center business is on fire, end quote. Murphy said that on the earnings call and added that the company expects accelerating revenue growth this year and next, quote, already from a strong base, end quote. For the second quarter, Marvell forecasted adjusted earnings of 88 cents to 98 cents per share, and that was compared to the analyst estimates of 90 cents per share. The company projected revenue between $2.57 billion and $2.84 billion, compared with the consensus estimate of $2.6 billion. Marvell expects fiscal 2027 revenue to increase about 40% year over year to approximately $11.5 billion, driven primarily by continued demand for AI data center infrastructure. The company also raised its fiscal 2028 revenue outlook to $16.5 billion, which implies roughly 45% annual growth. Marvell said the forecast reflects strong visibility across existing and new AI programs. Data center revenue is expected to grow about 50% in fiscal 2027 and accelerate to approximately 55% growth in fiscal 2028. Marvell also forecast Ethernet switching revenue to exceed $600 million in fiscal 2027, roughly doubling from fiscal 2026 levels, and to surpass $1 billion on an annualized basis in fiscal 2028. This company is just an absolute monster. They continue to grow, and it's been a great pick and a great boon for our entire community here for those that have traded it. It's been fantastic. Okay. I kind of want to just pause right there because we're in between stories. I only have a couple left here, and we are now also expecting the data print here, right? We also need to get our T3 guest on here today. So let me catch up on some of the comments as we await the data drop here. Flag Drone said, happy you're back, flushed with cash, pretty much paralyzed with profits, looking for entries. I don't want to intraday trade. So if you don't want to intraday trade, that's tough, because with the market at all-time highs, with a lot of people feeling like we might be needing to pull back here a little bit, I can understand why it feels tough, right? At this point, just kind of going off of what Tim Melvin has talked about, this is something where if you want to trade some of that momentum, better have a stop. Better have a stop in case things swing, and we seem to get back and forth headlines every single day. No surprise, the universe is totally in order. Lion thinks the PCE is going to be cooked, so that means that the universe is not ending here, and I won't even dive into the back and forth about the corruptness here, but that's okay, because we got data now. U.S. initial jobless claims, 215K versus the 211K estimate. GDP quarter over quarter for Q1, 1.6% versus the 2% estimate. That number a little bit light there. U.S. core PCE prices, 4.4% versus the 4.3% estimate. Barely hot. U.S. core PCE price index month over month for April, 0.2 versus the 0.3 estimate. Continuing jobless claims, 1786K versus 1780K. U.S. core PCE price index year over year for April in line, 3.3% versus the 3.3% estimate. And the U.S. durable goods orders month over month for April, 7.9% versus the 4% estimate. That number's a little hot. UDP price index quarter over quarter for Q1, 3.5 versus the 3.6 estimate. And U.S. personal spending month over month for April, 0.5% versus the 0.5% estimate. Now, looking at the market here, it is up a little bit, but not a whole lot. S&P futures here down 0.17%. They were down 0.25% when we first signed on here. And looking at the S&P futures chart here, we basically popped into VWAP and stopped right there. So the print here is what it is. The market looks to have responded positively, at least slightly initially. Right now, with the S&P futures, we are straight up battling the VWAP. So we'll see. Okay, it looks like we're trying to go through it. I'm going to let that settle instead of giving you tick by tick coverage of it, because we've got some other stuff to do here. It is Thursday. I know we normally do this on Tuesday, but we're lucky doing it here today. It is a T3 Thursday. Let's go ahead and bring on our guest. All right, Mike, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. Doing great. How are you?
I'll tell you what, after the Cubs finally got a win yesterday, I'm finally able to breathe again. I don't know what the heck's going on there.
In the ninth, where you're looking at a 6-run lead and you're not feeling all that great about it, that's
it's not comfortable.
You're just not comfortable. Where before it was automatic.
It was automatic. I'll tell you what, Ian Happ hit that 3-run home run. I took a big exhale and then I slapped myself around and said, we're not done yet. We're not over. Mike, I'm also coming off an amazing golf vacation at Big Cedar, so I'm about as happy as it gets right now. I'm looking at some green arrows. I just read the data that we got. It's popping the market here. So I'm just going to ask you real quick, because frankly, you've been tied into this more than I have. What do you think with where we're at? I was just reading a comment from the group here about, I don't really feel great trading. I don't want to intraday trade. I kind of want to swing trade, but we're up near all-time highs. A lot of things are extended. How do you take all of that and distill an actionable plan on a regular basis?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I have the same feelings that, the market is obviously bullish. But, how much do you want to sit there and chase this stuff? And then 3 months later saying, oh, my goodness, we could have bought it here.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't get that, after doing this for so long, that, if I miss something, I miss something. And chasing stuff around in this type of market is just going to get you hacked up. Yep. So, I'm not saying that you can't, play this. But boy, I mean, there's just not... It's really hard to play it to the downside, clearly, and how much you want to buy up at the top. I'm much more comfortable intraday trading here, which because you are in and out, you are flat at the end of the day, and you don't have to take a long-term look at this, even if your long term is a week or two. A lot can change in this market in a week or two, and I wouldn't be surprised on either way.
Yeah, and I'm the exact same way. And for someone that would prefer to swing trade, I have to play the hand the market gives me. The hand the market has given me is intraday, at least in my opinion. That might also be why we use options here to make our risk well defined.
Exactly. And always remember that that downside protection is still relatively cheap. The VIX is not trading at 25, 26 or anything like that. It's also not trading 14, but it's relatively cheap. So, you do have a viable hedge there that if you want to hedge off some of your longs while enjoying this ride to the upside.
I want to ask you a follow-up question about that. Short-term options expert Mike Shorr is hosting a live call today at 4:30 Eastern. See how he's finding high probability setups in this red hot market. So if you need some help, hey, we've got someone that might be able to help you. Mike, I don't have a producer here today, so forgive me. I'm doing all of it. So I might be a little bit slow here. Folks, the QR code for that meeting is on the screen here. Be sure to scan that. You can join Mike later today and see if he can't help you navigate this very tumultuous time. All right. So let me just ask you here. I kind of want to start with Micron. Let me throw my charts up here real quick. I kind of want to start with Micron. I just talked about that. I might want to ask you about Snowflake on the back of its earnings here. So let me ask you, just given our discussion here about things being extended, but really kind of wanting to have some type of exposure to some of the momentum that we're seeing here. When you look at a stock like Micron, and if you don't want to go exactly with Micron, that's fine. But when you look at a stock like this, how do you set up a trade for something like this?
All right. So Micron, obviously, just absolutely bonkers. And, I've seen some price targets up at 1,600 for this thing. So, either this is just, a bubble of all bubbles or pretty close to it, or somebody knows something that we don't. And I'm in no position. And this is the way that I look at it as a trader. I'm in no position to tell the analysts that they're wrong on this. They're going to know a heck of a lot more than me on this. But I can still trade this. You're just going to have to be a little bit more selective. You're looking for meaningful pullbacks, not just because you have it comes down 1% on a day. For something like Micron, we had some really nice resistance up at 800. I'm counting in 3-4 days that we were testing that 800 before it popped back up there. So if we get a pullback, now realizing that's $128 lower than what it is now. But, really with something like this is what I was talking about earlier, that you're just chasing around stocks. Well, this is definitely bullish, so I'm going to buy it. And look, It's a little bit cheaper than yesterday. You have to realize that, if and when there is some selling pressure, whether it's outside markets affecting our market or something fundamentally in, the space, there's if I'm long Micron right now, of course I'm loving it. I'm also thinking, really, what were you looking for out of this trade? You got way more out of it than you thought you were going to. How about lighten up on that? And we were seeing that a little bit yesterday, where we were seeing some rotation out of some of these laggard stocks coming back up. And then your things like, NVIDIA and things like that, a small pullback. And so, and that's only prudent. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. And you can always reload.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And just kind of your initial example there about Micron right around 800, it had what felt like a melt up, big type of momentum push. We actually overshot 800 by about 15, 16 bucks. But then we pulled back to the 20. This was a 20% pullback.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about, hey, it's down 1 or 2%, that's probably not the point to buy it. Yeah. The last time we pulled back to the 20-day, it was a 20% move. Right. So something to keep in mind here on some of these high flyers.
Right. Because think about, those that are long that are selling. If you're up 80%, let's just say on a trade, and you lose 20 getting out, you're still up 60%. And when people start selling, everybody starts looking around like, I don't see any buyers. Neither do I. And, then it comes off. And that's where you can, as a trader, I don't really have an opinion. I will buy Micron, but I'm not going to chase it. But, we get back down to that 800 level. Okay, well, that's something to think about.
Yeah, and obviously that round number, there's a gap there. We'll see where the 20 is by the time it pulls back there, if indeed it does do that. Okay, really good breakdown there on Micron. The next one that I want to ask you about, just because it's topical right now, is going to be snow. I don't know when you actually joined, but one of the stories that I had read earlier was an earnings recap here for snow. And I think back what feels like not even a long time ago, like a month or two, and there's talk about a SaaS apocalypse and software stocks are going to get replaced because of AI. We have a massive, massive earnings beat here for Snow. Stock is holding higher by 36%. Really great move up to 200. I don't know how you look at charts here. I have a long-term trend line that originated during COVID at the all-time high that sure looks like the next target here for Snow. How do you deal with a big move like this? Stock's up 35+%. If you don't own it yet, what's the move here?
Okay, so first thing you have to think about, and I'm going to come at this from an options trader standpoint.
Perfect.
And because it'll flow over. So now we know that we have inflated implied volatility going into this. That's going to be true of any stock. It's certainly going to be true of something like Snow, because look what just happened. I'm pretty sure that I didn't do the calculation yesterday, but I'm pretty sure that they were not looking for a 35% move to the upside or the downside for that matter. I mean, that's a massive move. So now you have to think of two things. Are people stuck short upside? And I did not look at that, but we are going to see whether they are, because if you're short this thing, there's no you're just kind of cooked on this.
Yeah.
Once we get that kind of that idea, whether if there's a panic buy or something like that, then we're going to see this implied volatility implosion. I mean, these vols have to be through the roof, so they're going to mean revert. No matter, even on a 35% move, it's probably not going to come down as much as it normally does, but it's still got to come down, because I really don't think. I mean, you have to be crazy that if you were just shorting the upside in a stock like this. So you have to think about it like that. So first, you really can't trade it early on in the day, because that implied volatility is coming in. The markets are going to be wide because the market participants, well, wow, where's vol going to be? Is it going to be up 10%, down 20%, down 30%? We don't know. So the markets are going to be wide. So don't try and play that. But, after, let's say, the first 30, 45 minutes, you're going to have an idea. And if the markets are reasonable, you always got to be looking at that liquidity, because you can get into any trade that you want. You might not like how you have to get out of it because of the illiquidity. Probably not a huge deal with Snow, but it's going to be wide market. So it's difficult because nobody knows what's going on. So you're looking, first you're waiting for implied volatility to kind of find its range. Then you can play it. There's no reason to try and sell it, because those that are already long it, they're going to be selling it right off the open to anybody who wants to buy it. Who wouldn't? Wow, this thing's up 35%. Any option that you bought is going to be up, probably 4 or 5 times that.
Yep.
There's going to be sellers in there. Who wouldn't do that? So now you have to wait for that to kind of settle in and look for that where are we trading? It's okay.
239 and 3/4 is where we're trading. So I just want to assign some numbers to what you were saying here. You were talking about we're going to find out just some short interest data. The last read that we have, and we are due for another one. This is effective as of the beginning of May. 5.15% of the float shorted, 2.66 days to cover. So not high by my stretch, but definitely there. And your point about the implied volatility crush that we're likely to feel here, I hope that you folks were all paying attention, because that will be awesome for a trade here today.
Yeah. So you got to wait for that to come in.
Yeah. Yeah.
No matter what kind of, because you have to think about, okay, who's on the other side of this? I'm long all this implied volatility going into this number. I'm long all this implied volatility. Now that missing piece of the puzzle, that report, that's known. So everything, once it finds its range, get out of the way, because, you could say, wow, this is bullish. I'm going to buy some calls right off the open. Maybe you get lucky and you get another spike up. Most likely, as the market is going up, they're hitting implied volatility that entire time. And with you talking about what the short interest was, 5% short interest is not the environment for a short squeeze. So, get that out of your head. This is fundamental. But boy, I'm really not seeing a whole lot of support until 220. I see volume and some. We got a nice little pocket of consolidation at 220. That's this. If you don't have a stake in this bet right now, I would hold off on this and try and get a more macro view, because you're just not close enough to the action to be able to get in and out of anything.
I don't like that. I love that. That is a perfect plan here for Snow. Really good stuff there. All right, Mike, I asked you about the two stocks that I wanted to ask you about. Do you have anything that's on your radar that you'd like to take a look at here before we let you go for the day?
I mean, I do like these satellite companies like EchoStar. I just think that's SATS.
Yep.
And we've gotten that little pullback here. And so we're trying to hold the 50-day moving average. I'm kind of surprised by that. And, if we can hold that 50, I'd like us going back up to that 145, 150 area.
Okay, here we go. 123.84 is going to be your 50-day moving average. The stock is currently at 122.5 here. We've talked about sats quite a bit. The space theme has been a big theme for our group here. We've been all aboard that. Love that you're looking at sats. Anything else you have for us?
Let me think here. You can tell that I'm not really in a swing trading type of mode here. I think some other probably relatively cheap. Let's talk about protection. We talked about VIX.
Yeah.
But a lot of these energy companies too. I keep saying, this is not. I don't think this is going away anytime soon. This whole thing, over in Iran and the Gulf and everything like that. They like to package it up and say, okay, we got this letter together and everything. That doesn't work, in actual implementation. And really, we're kind of talking. That's basically it. And the market's like, whew, this is over. I don't think it is. So if you're looking at anything like that, I really like VLO. I'm actually long VLO right now. And so is Scott. I like, XOM, any of this stuff. If you want to just take a shot in just oil, if you're trading futures, you can trade oil futures, or, something like USO. USO's a pretty good proxy for oil. You do run into a little bit of time horizon where the USO has to hold a certain baskets of futures, and sometimes it's the front month, sometimes it's half the front month and 2 months out. So you got to watch for that. But in general, those should have a positive beta to them. Did I lose you? Okay.
All right, Mike, I am so sorry about that. Apparently, I'm dealing with internet problems here from Comcast. You there?
No problem. I was just
Oh man, I am so sorry. I'll tell you what. You're a Chicago guy, so I don't need to explain it to you. Comcast has been giving me fits for the past 2 weeks. I thought my vacation was going to be enough to get rid of it. I'm sorry about all of that. Thank you so much for carrying through here. So I don't know. You tell me where you left off. We'll go from there.
I was talking about cheap protection, and we talked about VIX.
Yep.
And then, what I'm saying is that I just don't think that this Iran stuff is as clean and tidy as, sometimes the news is packaging it up to be. Like, we put together a couple-page document and suddenly this thing completely unwinds and everybody just goes back home high-fiving each other. It doesn't work that way. And so we have relatively cheap VIX for what I think the environment is. And then some of these energy names. That they're not expensive right now. We're looking at things, like VLO, XOM, or if you just want to play, crude on itself with crude futures and options, USO, things like that. There's think about that. Always think about risk before reward, and that's the way that I always look at any trade. And do I have any cards to play if things don't work out exactly the way that I want to? And that's some cheap protection, I think.
Yeah, I think that's super smart. Okay, and then so energy. So you're looking to buy dips in energy, it sounds like.
Yes.
On all of these headlines. Okay, great stuff. Mike, thank you so much. Go Cubs. Let's hope we can get another one here. And I got to say, you T3 guys are always professionals when we deal with internet outages. So have a great rest of your Thursday. Enjoy your weekend. We'll catch you next time.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, folks, that is Mike Shorr. Again, short-term options expert Mike Shorr will be hosting a live call today at 4:30 p.m. as his internet is better than mine, folks. So be sure to sign up for that. See how he's finding high probability setups in this red hot market. If you need help, if you're not sure what to do, look, there is no problem with going to somebody that is more experienced and saying, hey, what do you see out there? What ideas do you have? That's why I ask all of you folks so often what your thoughts are here. Lion says, Ryan blames Comcast as much as I blame my ex-wife for our divorce. Okay, so I blame Comcast a lot is what I heard from that. And you'd be right about that. You would absolutely be right about that. Okay, folks, I do want to touch on some of the drone news. It was breaking here this morning, and it was Wall Street Journal article, and it was behind a paywall, but I want to break some of it down for you. We're going to start here with UMAC as the stock for this. You can see UMAC, a huge move here. This stock is up 30.5%. It is absolutely soaring. And when we start here with the daily chart, we've been talking about UMAC quite a bit recently. Look what we did. Today took us above the all-time high and the trend line. So a huge, huge pop here for UMAC on the back of the news. Now, what is the news that you ask? It is a Wall Street Journal article. Let me pull it up here for you, and I've got some summary for it. First of all, if any of you have Wall Street Journal subscriptions, I will throw the link to this article in the chat. If you don't, you came to the right spot because I'm going to break it down for you here. Now, let's go back to the chart here real quick. The article in question here that's driving this says that the Trump administration is negotiating funding deals with several U.S. drone companies. So right off it does list UMAC as one of them. It also lists Neros as another and PowerUs related to coverage. And that was one that I guess is owned by the Trump family there. UMAC is the one that's moving big off of this, but it's also worth noting that other drone companies are moving with this as well. Here is Ondas, and we started at the opening here, or at least Zach and I started at the opening by talking about Ondas. We talked really about this 1165 to 12 area being a significant spot that this stock needs to break out from, and indeed, it looks like we're testing this area. So what I would like to see for ONDS in particular is at minimum here today, we want to hold above 1160. Ondas loves to pull back, especially when it gaps up. We'll see where it holds here today. But better still, if we can get above this trend line here, which is about $13. If we can get above that trend line, that would be gorgeous for this particular chart, and we might trade a little bit higher here. And then also, we don't want to go back to UMAC yet. RCAT, this was another one. I know a lot of folks were trading this one. This one was kind of on like a little bit of a down move here. This actually traded right up to the 100 days. So that 1278, the 1278 level there, that's going to be important. Now, given this entire move here, let me go through. I had some other notes here. Okay, so the purpose of this is they want to produce many. Corey is mentioning it here. Trump's team said that they are purchasing 1 million drones. They want to purchase a ton of low-cost drones, and they want to move the production back to the United States. This is a theme that we're seeing amongst semiconductors, amongst defense equipment. Remember, we interviewed Michael Murray from Copen. He told us he's trying to do this with his business as well. It notes that the talks involve the Pentagon and the official strategic capital, and that companies such as Neros and Unusual Machines are among these discussions. So there has been several companies named already. The drone theme here, the purchasing of tons and tons of these drones, this is going to be one of those factors where the rising tide lifts a lot of boats. So if you were to ask me, Ryan, are you disappointed that Ondas is not listed in this initial article? I would say no. I would say it would be cool if it was, and Ondas was up 40% here today, of course, but I don't think that is bad at all. This is all good news for the entire drone theme. So the entire drone sector has been hot. A lot of these are going to be on watch here today. I see Ed is mentioning DPro here. We actually just talked to Cameron. This is up 13.6%. This is a nice move above the 200-day moving average as well. So it was great. Joe here saying Ondas wasn't mentioned specifically in the article. No, it was not. But I would expect that we might see more of these, and Ondas still holding higher here by quite a bit today. So that is the news with the drones here. Let's say we got 5 minutes until 13 shows up. I don't have any text from him, so I think everything is good. You know what? Let me just remind him that we are back today. I think he knows, but I might as well remind him. And I have one more news story to go through here with you today. Oops, clicked on the wrong thing there. Okay, let's do it. We just talked about Micron. We've talked a lot about AI. We've talked about data centers being a primary driver of this. And then, of course, we've had these discussions about bubbles. Wall Street rally rests on a very narrow subset of stocks, and analysts warn that this is an AI-driven melt-up. So I want to give you opinions from all of that, not just some of the bullish ones. We'll do that here as well. Wall Street's rally is becoming increasingly dependent on a small group of mega-cap technology stocks. Standard Charter analyst Daniel Lamb warned on CNBC on Thursday, and he also raised concerns that weakening market breadth could make the gains, harder to sustain. Quote, equities is right now being driven by very, very narrow subset of stocks, end quote. Lamb, of course, is the head of cross-asset derivative strategy at Standard Charter Wealth Solutions, and he added that the high-end semiconductor stocks for the memory stocks are the ones that are driving the equity market stocks. A small group of AI-linked mega-cap tech stocks, including NVIDIA, NVDA, Alphabet, ticker GOOG, and Apple, ticker AAPL, have driven a significant share of S&P 500's recent gains, reflecting renewed concentration in the market rally. So here we go about these concentration fears again. We've already seen this story played out. Shares of NVIDIA and Apple have gained about 14% this year, while Alphabet up a whopping 22%. Lamb added that persistently high interest rates could eventually force investors to reassess current equity valuations, and added that investors may eventually begin to realize valuations have become stretched, potentially increasing the risk of a broader market correction. Well, we've been talking about that for months, it feels like. We haven't got it yet. I still think we might get one in 2026 here, but that's neither here nor there. Quote, investors heavily exposed to broad equity indexes should consider diversifying beyond the market's largest constituents to reduce concentration risk, end quote. It came from an analyst at UBS in a note from last week. Earlier this month, Goldman Sachs analysts said institutional investors are increasingly treating AI-linked stocks as long-term core holdings rather than high-risk growth trades, with many choosing to hold through market volatility amid concerns about being underexposed to the sector's long-term potential. The AI optimism has been driven by soaring demand for generative AI tools, massive investments in chips and data centers, and expectations that AI could transform industries and boost corporate profits. Reduced traffic through the Strait of Hormuz amid escalating tensions between the U.S. and Iran has driven oil prices higher, which has fueled supply chain disruptions and renewed inflation concerns across the global economy. Even if the Strait of Hormuz reopens, supply chains could take time to normalize. This is a lingering risk. Analysts say global equity markets may not yet be fully pricing in. One of the reasons they might not be fully pricing that in is because we're also hearing from people that, hey, oil's going to, quote, drop like a rock. Things are going to, quote, go back to normal very quickly. And we'll see how this shakes out. I will say, just on the surface, well, I do think the actual conflict is going to be wrapped up here pretty soon. These things take time, and I don't think the view of well, we're just going to go right back to it overnight. I don't think that's true. I think this will probably take a little bit longer than we all expect. Okay, it is 9:00. Which means it is time to welcome back 13. And just like I said, folks, 13 knew what the story was. He didn't need my text message. He knew what to do. Let's go ahead and start pre-market pulse. The gang is back together. "13, good morning. Welcome back. How you doing?"
I'm doing just fine. Good morning. Good morning, everybody out there. How are you doing?
Well,
while we were on vacation, how were we?
Well, I'll tell you what, the chat has been absolutely great. They've all been super nice. They've wished us well, and they have come back. They waited. They were super patient, so they have been great. I will say, 13, I was just doing an interview with Mike Shorr from T3, and my internet gave me some more trouble again. So it's not out. It didn't go out. It just kind of dropped my connection briefly, but just be aware. It looks like we have not fully resolved those issues. So there might be an angry phone call coming from me a little bit later. But 13, my vacation was excellent. I'm sun-kissed. I'm relaxed. I'm back. How about you?
I'm fine. I'm just watching one of the movers just absolutely rip right now.
Okay, you know what? Then we don't even need to talk about vacations. Let's just dive right in. Here, let me flip over to the movers tool here. 13, which one are you starting with?
Well, I was going through a whole bunch of these. The one that I'm looking at that was ripping right now is SPRC.
Okay, so oldie but goodie.
Yep. These, and by the way, these are all very low float, and they all could probably do pretty much the same thing. I think a couple of these are moving on the same issue. No news, but the Strait of Hormuz tensions. But with this one in particular, this is you want to go through the news, and
let me do it here real quick. We're going to start with SPRC. This is SciSpark. We affectionately call these ex-girlfriends because we've traded them before several times. We've seen SciSpark move here before. Stock is up 170%, not a typo. SciSpark announced Neurothera received conditional TSX approval for acquisition of approximately 54% interest in Clincy Quantum. Okay, I hope that you read through this PR because we're going to need some help on this one. I'm not going to go ahead and read this. I'm going to have you tell me what you think here in a little bit. But quickly, around the horn, short interest on this name, 5.5%, 1 day to cover. So it's there. It's not elevated. It doesn't meet high by our metric on either account. The float, just like 13 said, extremely low float, 565,000 shares in the float. On average, it only trades 500,000 shares. Today, it's traded over 9 million. So super low float. What do you got here, 13? SciSpark, SPRC.
Yeah, well, I didn't dive into the news about it. It didn't really make a difference to me because I just want to know why it was moving. So this is moving on. You said it's on conditional approval for a drug from their subsidiary. But more interesting to me was, what's their revenue like? What's their cash like? Because this is a biotech, they eat through that. Is this subject to compliance issues as a couple of these other ones were? This actually did a 1-for-9 reverse split back in March, which is the reason why you have this 565,000 share float. And we also can see that the company doesn't have a very good cash position either. And I think this is one that we need to be careful with if we're going to, take a trade in this. It's been fantastic this morning. VWAP's been giving it support, running into some trouble up at the $13 handle. But this company eats through cash. It doesn't have very much revenue, and it's going to need some more cash. So I think that this is a very high likely capital raise candidate, whether private placement or whether it be through just direct issuance of commons. I mean, I don't know how they're going to do it, but just keep in mind they do need cash. They're going to have to raise it somehow. That is the risk here with this one. As far as the chart goes,
real quick, 13, just on that note, the last time they did a capital raise, February 3rd of this year. So it looks like it's probable for this one. They've done it before. Just beware.
And they're going to probably need to do it again. Looking at the chart here, this is it just blew through all the different support and resistance levels I had from the last time we traded this. So it went through all that. The support that I see at this stage is going to be at VWAP on the 5-minute chart. So we'll see if it can get some support there as we approach the open. But if it does, then I would want to see this climb back over $13, since that's looking like the big resistance right now. So I think for the moment, while we're waiting for the open, let's see if it can find some support from VWAP.
Okay, I do have a small fair value gap in here. It's you can actually probably guess it. Let me just draw it here real quick. Bang, bang. We are entering that gap right now. Right now, we'll see. No position for me, by the way. So not trading here in the pre-market. Okay, 13. Did you have another one that you want me to go to, or should I just run down the list in order?
You can go down the list in order. That's the next one I was looking at too.
Perfect. The next one here is going to be ticker NCT. This is a Hong Kong name, Intercont Cayman Limited. That's got all types of red flags going on it, to be quite honest with you. Nonetheless, stock is popping here. It is holding higher by 100%, 100% runners thus far here today. Let's see what we have here in news-wise. I don't have anything. I've got a Form 8 from JP Morgan's Real Estate Income Trust back on Tuesday, May 28th. I don't think that's driving this here at all. No. I got no news on this. We'll see what 13 has to say. As far as the short interest, negligible, 0.39%, 1 day to cover. Boy, you might as well call that zero. That's nothing. Float on this one, again, as 13 outlined earlier, extremely low, 435,000 shares in the float. So 13, right off the bat, I know we're only through 2 of these. The theme here seems to be some of these low floats that are either junky on the surface or have run before on something like this. They seem to be what's moving here. Stocks traded 20 million shares versus 215,000 average. 13, what do you think here on NCT? I can't recall trading this myself. I can't place it.
I don't think we did. I might be wrong about that, but regardless, this is another one that just recently went through reverse split. It was a 1 for 25 back on April 2nd. I think that's maybe where we saw this move last, but I don't recall. The news that it's moving off, there's no news, but because it's in marine transportation and it's involved in ship leasing and vessel management, I think we're getting a lift here from the Strait of Hormuz situation arising again with strikes. So I think that could be what's driving it here, and the fact that it's a very low float. If several guys hit it, then it kind of creates a chain effect. This company does have revenue. Surprisingly, this is actually this is going to be the better ones that we'll look at here on the movers list today. It does have some rising OpEx, so that's actually been hammering down its profitability. It used to be profitable according to their income statements, but because of the rising OpEx, that has been hammering it into unprofitable territory. They do have some cash. I don't think this is one that necessarily needs to raise capital, but they're going to have to do something about their rising costs. So that's the problem there with that one. As far as the chart goes, I've got VWAP as resistance. We've been having a hard time staying above that all morning. The support that I see is going to be, I think we could go down to the 65 EMA, but for now, I would think that the 450 area is going to be your stronger area of support. And if not there, then the 65 EMA. Okay.
Really good breakdown there. Ticker NCT, November Charlie Tango is your ticker on that one. Okay. Next here is going to be ATPC, and this thing went absolutely crazy in the after hours yesterday. This has set up a trend line that is literally jumping off the page. It is holding higher here by 110%, although that is down from the $8 highs that it saw in the after hours yesterday. Looking at the news here, I don't have anything fresh. All right. So I actually haven't even looked this one up. This company is from Malaysia. It's a little bit different. Percent of float short here, 0.5%, 1 day to cover. Again, this fits into the theme that we've looked at in all of these movers here so far. Short interest not playing a role. The float on this one, exactly 1 million shares outstanding. It's traded 24 million and a half here today. On average, it trades just shy of 3 million. 13, what do you think here on ATPC?
1 million shares exactly. That's not suspicious whatsoever.
Not at all.
But as far as this company, it doesn't have news. I don't know if the Strait of Hormuz is causing this to go, because this is, a part of healthcare in the sense that it provides dermatological products. So it may be that there's, a lot of consumer names, because the consumer sector that's been hammered down recently is getting some attention. I think a lot of the retail names are up, and maybe, just maybe, there's a correlation there with this being, having a skincare product that is causing, some of these, low float names to go. That would be the best stretch that I could, do to link this to why it's moving. I have otherwise no news as to why it's moving up here. They did do a 1 for 50 reverse split back in February, which is the reason you have this oddly numbered float. They do have a little revenue, but they also have very little cash. They're going to need cash as well. They burned through a ton of it. And I think this could be another one that could potentially raise as early as today, but no guarantee that it does. As far as the chart goes, here's another one that's struggling with the VWAP. It has successfully managed to trade above it briefly at times before losing the VWAP again. And the 65 EMA is providing some pretty good support. If it does lose the 65 EMA, the 475 and the 200, the 475, price level, that's support, as well as the 200 EMA to the downside.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. ATPC. Joe's got the jokes here today. Dermalogical products are breaking out.
Are they? I gotcha. That's good.
Well done, Joe. It's good to be back, and it's good to have you back. Okay. Next on the list here is going to be Astro Tech. This is ticker ASTC, Alpha Sierra Tango Charlie. Stock had a great run yesterday. This might have been one of the day trading targets for some of you folks yesterday. I know the Benzinga Pro chat room was all over this one. Huge move here. Grats if you hit it. And some register rings in arrears if you did in fact hit that. Now we are going higher here today. Did find some resistance at about 24. I know we peaked above it, went to like 26 or so here. We've come in a little bit. We are holding higher than the VWAP, and the stock is holding higher here by 60%, excuse me. Looking at the news here, it was all from yesterday, right? Did we have anything here in the after hours? No. So this is all from yesterday. Looks like continued move. The relative volume is going to come into play here. Short interest on this name, 2.45% of the float shorted with 1.22 days to cover. There's some, it's negligible. I think this is more about the relative volume angle here. On average, stock trades 4.4 million shares. Today, it's done 13 million, and that is on a float of 1.69 million, or just about 1.7 million. 13, you got anything here on ASTC Astrotech?
The thing that's driving this, I believe, is also the same thing, the same event that caused Intuitive Machines to drop I would say drop like a rock, but I think it's more appropriate to say drop like one of their spacecraft onto the moon. There was a NASA event where they this was happening after hours on Tuesday, where they were outlining different their plans for the lunar base, and they were outlining some different vehicles, the terrain vehicles that were going to be used on a lunar surface. And one of the ones that was not present was Lunar. They were not selected as one of the companies to develop lunar machines and vehicles. This one, however, was. And I'm a little embarrassed because this wasn't on my space theme watch list. It is now, but this is going to be very much involved with space and lunar infrastructure for their NASA's lunar missions. So that's why it's absolutely been ripping over the past couple of days. they don't have. I didn't do a deep dive into this one this morning, but the float's very low, and it's got a great piece of news. It's also got some pretty. Well, I thought it had some decent short interest. I guess that's changed since a couple of months ago. But either way, this is. I don't know that this is really a good one to own for now. I don't think that they've really got a good, balance sheet. I haven't looked in the financials either. It's just been a great day trading vehicle off that news. Let me go here to the chart, and I'll tell you what I see here right now. So we're holding above VWAP right now, and I think that's pretty much what we're going to want to see. I guess you could also draw a trend line from the $26 high it had in the early pre-market through the what is this, the 9 o'clock high, and that could give us a trend line that we could watch for to break out of if we do get this support from VWAP that we're coming down to. But if we do lose VWAP, then I think that the support area you're going to want to watch for is going to be somewhere between 1975 and 20.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. ASTC. We'll see if this holds and gives us a trade. All right. 13. Is there anything else that you have on your list that you want to cover here?
Nope. I don't have anything else on my. Actually, you know what? I take that back. CRSR.
Okay. That's going to be Corsair Gaming.
Yeah. If you look at a daily chart on that one, because I saw that this was also up. Okay, maybe I was looking at a 5-minute chart, but yeah, that 5-minute chart looks it was looking pretty interesting earlier this morning. Looks like we did get that breakout, but I think this is what off of earnings. Sorry, let me just double check. And no, it's not. It's off of a piece of news about them bringing MCP support to its Elgato brand Stream Deck.
So you're basically going to be able to, it says here, opening the platform to AI assistance. That's going to be awesome.
Yep. With the push of a button.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of like long-term this is going to have yet, but to me, this feels like this is going to be really good. It feels like some of these streamers are going to be able to use AI tools to help them and then program them right into the Elgato Stream Deck. That's actually a piece of equipment I don't have that I kind of wish I did, but that's neither here nor there. So I actually think this is a pretty good piece of news. Let me just roll around the horn here, 13, and then I'll have you cover the chart while I step away briefly.
Okay.
This one actually has some notable short interest. It's not quite high, but it is 13.15%. And the days to cover is at 3.62. And the days to cover recently has actually come back in. We did get our new print, by the way, folks. We did get our new print here. So I was just looking on one of the other stocks there, and we had outdated data, but now we have the most recent print here. So this has actually come in a little bit. Looks like maybe some of those shorts covered as the stock started to move back up, but now we get a 25% pop here. On average, stock trades 1.5 million shares. It's done 2 million here today. The float on this is over 46 million. 13, here's the chart on Corsair. Do you want a daily? Do you want a 5-minute?
5 minutes, fine.
Okay, I'm going to step away. I'll be right back.
Okay, so the two things I want to see with this, because we do want to get a VWAP recapture here, that'll give me a little bit more confidence that we're going to start to move toward the upside. But we need to hold this $12 level. I think that's going to be the big support. We do have the 65 EMA right beneath it at 1185. I guess we could. I could see a scenario where the price drops down to that and gets that as support, but we don't actually have the candle close beneath 12. It's just, a wick that hits 1185. So I could see that. But I think that if we lose those two areas of support, this is likely going to be coming back in some more. So that would probably be where I would, be looking to stop out, or just beneath or just underneath that area if I try to take a trade in this, because it looks like we could be trading into a rising wedge, just based on the way it's kind of been bouncing around this morning. So I think that's what I would be keeping an eye on. If we lose that $12 and that 65 EMA, I think this would be something to move on from. There is another support area beneath those, 1150, but I feel like if we do get support from there after we had already lost those other areas of support, this might be just a bounce area that takes us back up to where we find resistance up at that 65 EMA again. So you could try and trade that if you want. It's up to you, but those are the three areas of support that I think I would be keeping an eye on: that 12, that 65 EMA, which has 1185, and then the 1150.
Okay. All right. Really good breakdown on Corsair. Anything else that you want to take a look at all, 13?
No, sir.
Okay, I know, just really quickly checking in here, we do have Snow. As far as a trading plan goes here on Snow, given the huge move, here's what I'd kind of be looking at. Bottom side is going to be about 235, let's call it. Top side is going to be about, 243? Is that what I had there? Yeah, 244, 243, somewhere in there. We'll see if it breaks out or breaks down and then gives a back test. If it does, that would be our trade trigger there for Snow. So we'll see if we end up getting that. Real quick peek here at UMAC. UMAC is one of the drone companies named by name in the Wall Street Journal article that's causing all of the drone companies to move here today. This has actually moved back above its VWAP. We'll see if this can take out this recent high here, 2678. And then as far as a trend line goes, let's go ahead and draw that here. Actually, it looks like we are kind of moving through that there. Okay. Let's see. What else are we missing here? What do you guys think of ASTS? My average is 78. You want to take this one, 13? I know ASTS Space Mobile's been a big one for the space theme. Here's what it looks like now. 125 looks like it's at 125 here in the pre-market, was up as high as 129. That actually kind of looks like a double top there.
I could see this maybe going a tiny bit higher, but this is very extended on the daily chart. I don't know what your trade plan is. If you're looking to take gains from this fantastic run that you've had down from what appears to be around the 200-day SMA, it sounds like that's about the area you were entered in. You have a great trade on your hands. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what your plan is. It seems to me like there could be a slightly more upside to go. But the thing that's been concerning me with this is the revenue that has supposed to have been showing up here, from their contracts really hasn't, and that's been a concern that I've had. I think that was a big concern for everybody in their last quarter when they reported that big miss. So I think I'm not big on ASTS. They're kind of Starlink adjacent. They're kind of a competitor of sorts. But for a trade, like I wouldn't be buying up here. If anything, I'd be selling.
Yeah, this looks like a resistance spot to me, 13 to take gains at.
So to me, like I think that this is you're at a good spot where you could pay yourself. I could see this going slightly higher, but not a whole lot higher. I think this does have to cool off some more. It's got over 73 RSI just before we even open here. So I think this needs to cool off a bit. If it does, you got support coming down to like around 110, 100 and 110 look like support areas to me if you do get that pullback or that corrective move. So that's what I think with AST. I think it's a little extended right now, and I think it would need to come back in.
Okay. Really good stuff there. Chicago Realtor, great to see you. Yeah, Cubs got a win finally. Anyway, going back to stocks here, can we take a look at Kohl's? Absolutely, we can. Kohl's up nearly 20%, up 19% here today on the back of its earnings, right? Yeah, earnings this morning, conference call is in progress. Kohl's shares trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q1 financial results and affirmed its fiscal year 26 sales guidance above estimates. Awesome. Now, interestingly enough, the Kohl's chart here, right to a spot, right to the 500-day. I've got that at 1538. The stock is currently testing 1530. It is worth noting that we have the 200-day not far above it here at 1639. And it is also worth noting that the stock death crossed at the beginning of April. It's moved down a little bit, but it hasn't been a huge move down. So you'll have to let me know what you think about that as far as your trading plan. But Looks like the news here today is a good catalyst. We've seen coals trade higher after a pretty good earnings report and really last for the whole day. I don't know if it's going to close up 18% here, but this should be in play here today. Adjusted EPS, 13-cent loss. That was better than the 19-cent loss expected. And then sales beat handily. And then obviously the guidance there. Guidance is in range for EPS, sales guidance above estimates. So all signs go here on coals. 13, let me ask you about the chart here. What do you think on this coals chart?
Let's take a look, because this is not the only retailer that's reporting this morning. You have Dollar Tree and Best Buy also significantly this morning off of good earnings.
Yep. Here's Best Buy, by the way. That's up towards a 70 handle. That's actually above its 200-day. That looks constructive. What was the other one that you said?
Dollar Tree.
Dollar Tree, DLTR.
Yep. And I think it's giving a lift to some of these other retailers.
And Dollar Tree also 13, popped above the 200-day. We have a trend line here. This had to be your doing that originated. Maybe. What?
Oh, maybe.
This you can see exactly. This trend line originates back in 2022, connects a lot of these highs. I know we peaked above that here recently. This would be a target if we can, in fact, hold above the 200 and maybe clear out that 100. Looks like retail is popping here this morning.
Yeah. Okay, so back to KSS, because you asked me about the chart.
Yeah, sorry, I moved around there pretty quickly. My apologies.
So we're right up to the 500-day SMA right now, and not too far above it at 1639. You have the 200-day SMA, and both of those large moving averages have been a bit of a problem for the price action in coals since February. It was, the 500 was a resistance area last year, had breakout in November, was support until February. Now it's resistance again. So this is a real key moment for the price to climb back over the 500, I would say. If we do get that move back over 500, and we're going to need to see the 200 get climbed back over next. But this could be a big moment here where we see the 500 become support if we can start closing above it. So that's something to watch for here. I would want to see some more upside in coals. If we do get rejected, there's a risk that we could fill the gap to the downside.
Okay, Lion here is saying, Ryan, we need to get over 1350 for the bulls to be in charge on coals. I got good news for you, Lion. We are above 1350. In fact, we're at 1530 here, so just reverse those numbers a little bit. But to your point, I would say that it definitely needs to close above that, right? Like if we gap all the way back down here. Okay, so you meant 1530, typo. Makes sense. Okay, so let's see if we hold that here. Lion, that's going to be what, 18%? Just a little bit over 18%. We'll see if we do that. 13 just gave you the rest of the numbers there. Lion says 1530, 1538 is the 500. We'll see if we clear that out. That puts 1639, the 200-day, in play on that. Okay. Let's see. Well, how much time do we have? We've got 3 minutes. I think we hit a lot of these. Let me see what we missed here. Kathy, RKTO, what is this? Up 90, another 45. What is RKTO? I don't recall that. RKTO, I don't have a ticker for that. Wait a sec. Let me look at my broker. Okay, so my broker, I only have pre-market action here today. So Kathy, I'm sorry. I don't have anything prepared on that. Oh, it was Hoth. RKTO has changed to Hoth. Is that what happened? Thank you. Okay, RKTO is Hoth. Okay, so in pro here, I will look at Hoth. It's not going to trade. We have to wait for RKTO to be added. Thank you, guys. Thank you for all. This is why we rely on all of you folks. Okay, so set a course for the Hoth system. I generally just don't even trade that thing. It's junky, but good luck. And I'm glad you guys are on top of that. Boy, I take a vacation, some stocks change their name. That's fantastic. Okay, what else do we have here real quick? Raj asking for AppLovin. I can give a quick peek at the chart here on AppLovin. Here's what it looks like. We had a decent day yesterday. Where are we at on the daily? All right, we are still, oh man, I'll tell you what, this chart looks like this wants to go, doesn't it, Raj? This, I would say, is probably going to be a resistance area up here. 575-ish, maybe 570 to 575. Looks like it stopped it yesterday. We'll see if we can get back above that. What was that? Yeah, 580. So I would say 575 to 580 really need to get above that to continue this bullish run. Otherwise, if we pull back, I would want to see this actually hold above 540. I would not even want a back test of the 200. I want to see it hold above this area that we had identified as significant resistance, but it is worth mentioning 200 days right in the middle of that. 13, do you have anything on app?
Look at the weekly. This week, we've recaptured the 50-week SMA. Big move over that. Look at the monthly. We've got support from the 20-month over the past 3 months. We're moving up and away from that. So this kind of indicates to me that we're probably going to go higher. I would say at least over 600.
Okay. So you think that, and Lion agrees with you. App is ready to pop more. Lion, what do you think about the 600 level? Think it's going to pop above that?
We're about to open.
Okay, let me flip over to the main workspace. Let's have a good one, folks. I am so glad to be back. I'm so glad to be back with you, folks. I really am. I'm lucky that I have a job that I feel that way, too. All right, we are open. Let's see where we go. Let's see what we do here today,
SPRC folks. Trying to push higher out of the gate.
RKTO trying to go above its VWAP. Netflix straight down out of the gate. That's in an 80 handle now. Palantir is popping. Ondas slight pull. UMAC traded higher out of the open. S&P 500 down out of the open. Oh, you know what I also want to take a look at is snow. We talked about this with Mike earlier. We talked about how you would trade this. Remember, he said kind of wait this out. There's probably a lot of people taking gains. Hey, look at that. Snow. It actually is back testing that range there. Let's see.
SPRC halted to the downside.
Oh, that was fast.
ATPC pushing up, trying to capture that VWAP. They got a seller in the way at 620.
ATPC.
It looks like NCT is also trying to get going here. This is that other junky name. Corsair lost those levels. It went down to the 200 EMA, trying to bounce there. But if it does come back up, I think the 65 EMA could be more of a resistance level at this point.
Okay, that Corsair does look like that held the 200 EMA on the 5 there. Codex, this was one that was running. I feel like this was actually moving before I even left. Here's Codex straight up above 9. Wow.
This one has been pretty good. If you look at a daily chart, you can see that this has just been one of those fantastic movers. We're getting potentially our third close above the 200 EMA on the daily chart today. So this could still move pretty nicely. A lot of the names we've been talking about for a while, especially the space names, were fantastic because we had that SpaceX Starship launch.
Yeah, the halo effect.
The halo effect is here.
Talked about. Yeah, absolutely.
And then Tuesday came around, and I don't know if anybody has a watch list for space names, but that was the greenest I have ever seen it, and it was fantastic.
Snow here. Okay, so actually, I did not take this trade, but so far the plan here working. We fell out of the pre-market range. We actually did back test it briefly, and it looks like we're starting to try and move lower. So I'm not in this trade, but it looks like the short trigger is working. We'll see if Snow keeps getting a pullback. I'd be very careful on this one if you do take that trade. S&P continuing to drip a little bit here. S&P futures did go red to green, but are now down 0.1%. They are above VWAP. We'll see if the VWAP actually helps this bounce at all here today. Snow bouncing now as soon as I talked about the short working, of course. How's Ondas doing? Hey, bouncing more highs. Let's go, Ondas. For those of you wondering, I am still in those calls. So I am not looking to sell shares of my long-term position yet. I would think about that above 15. I am looking to sell some of those calls at about 12.50, not the entire position, but just kind of booking some gains on those. Those are the September 18s, by the way. So we'll see if Ondas continues to get a pop here. Let's check in on UMAC real quick.
NCT is over VWAP, slowly moving, but trying to push higher. Waiting for SPRC to unhalt. ASTC is bouncing between VWAP and some of the smaller EMAs.
There's one trim on the good till cancel call sale on Ondas. Sold that at 150 from the average of 78 cents. Oh, so we trimmed a little Ondas calls here today. Giddy up.
Nice.
Giddy up. Snow might be moving lower again. Lion says now is looking good. Let's take a look at that. That's ServiceNow, another one of those software names.
It's looking good now.
It's looking good now. So Lion, are you buying the dip? Is that what you mean by it's looking good? Are you buying the dip? Ticker NOW.
ATPC trying to move higher here, coming up to some of the resistance it had in the pre-market. Corsair was trying to recapture that 65 EMA. It's still struggling with it. Might actually get it. To my surprise.
I am actually going to set up another trim on the calls. I am going to attempt to sell this at $1.60 on the next trim level here. It's currently bid 151 by 170. I'm going to try and trim a little bit more at the midpoint here. Let's see if I get filled. I did not yet. I'll keep you posted on if we do that. Zach says drones are flying. I see what you did there, Zach. Retro says, I took some Ondas off the table at 12.12 from 8.88, still in the game with some shares. Retro, I think that's an excellent way to do this. We look at Ondas every day. We see the stock move higher and then pull often. So I think I like what you're doing here in terms of your trading strategy. I think that is well done. And you know what? Register ring for you. Let's go. RCAT continuing to push to highs. My trim on Ondas, second trim of the day done. The rest of the calls, I'm selling these at 100%. That was, last one was at 110%. My average is 78 cents. The current price is 162. So we are above 100%. We're going to let the rest of this ride a little bit.
Jedi is up, this drone and modern warfare ETF.
He's no Jedi. Sorry, what was that?
I
know. I was joking. Here's JEDI. This is an awesome ticker. I'm actually pissed I don't own this.
Is there a bearish version of this? It's called Sith.
That would be awesome. I'm going to check. There is not.
ASTC.
The Star Wars nerds do not run as deep as our nerdum does. That nerdum's not a word, but you know what I mean. Lion says, I'm still holding Ondas calls 10. They expire in September. That's a winning trade, Lion. That is a winning trade, my man.
NCT trying to push higher. Could face some resistance up at 6 to 620.
Okay, NCT pretty much right at the VWAP. And 13, the SPY sell-off has somewhat slowed down. So we basically pulled out of the open. The S&P futures pulled slightly beneath the VWAP. We're currently at 749.50. Let's see if and when we bounce here on SPY. Nerddom is a word. Okay, Liberty. You know what? If you say so, I'm in. I am in. I am in. PayPal continuing to pull here. Netflix down in an 86 handle. Costco pulled ahead of its earnings. It's doing its best to hold on to 1,000. Ondas 1260 now as that continues to pound the highs.
Just waiting for something to do something.
INFQ is popping here. I'm waiting for something to do something. That is absolutely brilliant.
Oh, yeah. INFQ has been fantastic as well.
Let's check in on Poet. Interesting. Okay, so we talked a lot about Poet the last several weeks here. This back to 13 did not go back to single digits yet. Let's see, what else do we have? Redwire, that's still above 20. Man, Redwire 25.
Yeah, right. I thought this is one of the better ones. I was saying This is the same. The halo effect, folks, and we talked a lot about him. And you see that Warren Buffett, on his 13F. I know we didn't talk about it, but he picked up a lot more of Sirius XM. Look at how that thing's been running. He picks it, he adds more, and then this thing goes like just a couple days later. You'd have to look at a longer time frame, but yeah, it's nice movement there.
Yeah, this really has been. And you know what? That was kind of a sneaky legacy add to the space watch list, but you know what? It worked.
And here
it
we
worked
go.
Off the bottom.
ASTC breaking the trend line here.
You had, I see.
Yeah, the $26 high from this morning through the 9 o'clock high.
Bingo.
Yep.
Big Grip, welcome. Good morning. I'm late. That's okay. We were on vacation, so I would be hypocritical to criticize anyone. Have you spoken about Hoth? So we did a little bit. It's RKTO. I actually don't have that added to the Pro quote package yet. I will get that. Hoth or RKTO is the new ticker that's trading here today. It used to be Hoth. That's basically all we've discussed here, but I can't share a moment. As far as RKTO, let me actually take a look at that here real fast. RKTO basically right at its VWAP, kind of nonchalant here today so far.
ASTC still trying to push higher through that trend line. It's been getting a little bit of trouble, but still trying to push. CRSR, like I was saying, I'm surprised it's actually managed to recapture 65 EMA. It's back in the price action from this morning here. If it can get up to over $13, we might even get a breakout over these highs. But I don't know if we're going to get all that.
Does anyone think the market bounces here at all today? Is anyone looking to trade the broader market for a potential bounce? I know we've seen that a lot the past several sessions here. I'm watching it. No signal for entry just yet. And Bitcoin, by the way, I haven't even mentioned Bitcoin yet here today. Shame on me. Bitcoin weak. Bitcoin down 2.92%. That's a traditional risk on indicator. Not doing well here and actually at the lows of the day.
Yep.
Trey, good morning, Trey. Great to see you. Welcome back. Mentioning on UMAC here, let me pull it up so I can give you the visual aid with it. Trey mentioning UMAC setting up for an ascending triangle here for a potential breakout. And so I think what you're looking at basically is just this, right? You get a change. There we go. So you're looking at something like this, right? There's that. And then here's, you got to draw the line, dude. Like this, Trey? Is this something you're looking at? Did I get even close to that? See if UMAC breaks and goes higher. JJ saying Mark Cuban said he's done with Bitcoin. I'm not sure how Bitcoin's ever going to recover from that. I say that tongue in cheek. I'm sorry. And I'm not even trying to take a shot at Mark Cuban. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. It's totally fine. Here's CODX, by the way. This ripped above 10. You're on 5 minute. Okay, so on that last one there on UMAC, you were looking at the 1 minute chart, although it should look pretty.
It's I still see it in the 5 minute too.
Yeah, it still looks pretty good there.
And it still looks like we could see, a smaller move down, maybe down around 26 before we come back up and break through that, because there's still a lot of room left in this this ascending triangle, for price action before it breaks above the top end of it.
Okay, SPY. Okay, so I in no position, by the way. Sometimes I scalp these pretty quick, but I've got nothing on right now. SPY trying to bounce a little bit here. S&P futures basically back to the VWAP, so I don't want to start the party just yet. Looks like a little bit of a bounce here after some selling out of the open. We'll see if it's got the strength to move through the VWAP. I don't feel great about that yet. Lion says, two people I hate. I don't know why we're talking about hate. Let's keep everything positive. The two people, though, are Mark Cuban and Kevin O'Reilly. I think you mean Kevin O'Leary. But nonetheless.
Don't get it confused with Bill O'Reilly.
Also, don't get on Lions' bad side. Something else that we've learned over the years here. Don't get on Lions' bad side. Chicago Realtor, can I get your opinion on HRL? That's going to be Hormel Foods, right? HRL. What's going on with this? I didn't look at this today, Chicago Realtor. Okay, so it looks like earnings here higher. Conference call is still ongoing. Sure looks like 23 is the resistance. And gosh, looks like we're going to try and break that down here. Let's take a look and see what the daily chart looks like on Hormel. Okay, so maybe we've put in a bottom here. I don't want to give you an opinion on this yet. I like that we're coming off the bottom, but I want to see how this finishes up today.
I mean, that's a pretty good move over the 50-day SMA.
Yeah, still in a longer-term downtrend, really since 2022. But it does look like it's coming up off the bottom. I said bad side, Knapp, not backside. So let's come on now. It's a family show. Ondas 1280 more highs. Are we going to get 13 prints?
Well, I mean,
Tom, just out here throwing daggers. 13. Do either of you two have a good broom company I can invest in honor of my Knicks?
ticker WM. It's not a broom company, but it'll help you with that trash.
13. 13's actually giving you an answer there. Tom, congrats to you and all the other Knick fans out there. Kathy mentioning Ondas is up 20%. Folks, I'm trimming a little bit. You get a move like this, I think it behooves you to trim a little. Trey, is your SPY buying signal happening? So my indicator is on. I've received 0 signals thus far. We did move through the VWAP. I think if we move through the 9 EMA here, we might get one, but I do not have one yet. Ondas, let's get 13. 1305, your high print here. Let's close above 13. That would be awesome.
Yes, Market Sniper Mask I saw that was moving as well. It was like further down the list of movers, so we didn't cover it. But that is having a good time out of the open here. Another low float name, 821,000 shares in this float. Moving on what appears to be a Form 6 from yesterday. That's the only other thing I see.
That bounce in the SPY, Trey, by the way, that bounce in the SPY did not work. So now the S&P futures are below VWAP. The SPY has moved below VWAP. So it would appear that my indicator had some pretty good foresight there, not getting me into a trade that I'm just going to stop out of right away. Mask, by the way, looks like 250 is a spot here on Mask.
SPRC out of the halt, it gapped up and went on to hit 1565. Now it's coming back into VWAP.
So new high and then pull out of the halt is what I'm hearing from you. Okay.
Meanwhile, those other movers we looked at aren't doing a whole lot. NCT pretty much flat. ATPC, we did have some, a little bit slightly higher price action, but hasn't really moved out of the range from pre-market yet. SPRC, I hate to say, has probably been one of the better movers this morning, despite all the halts. And then ASTC, this is looking a little heavy up here, so we'll see if we can get over this trend line. It's been struggling to, and it might reverse, but nothing's final for me until we start losing some key levels here, starting with the VWAP.
Okay. Ryan, I need to do some amazing photos. I did a 4,000 foot elevation hike yesterday from 63,000 to 10,000. Yeah, I want to see those pictures. Gnostic saying Starwood testing a moving average the last 7 days. So real quick, this is not a trade for me, by the way, Gnostic. Anytime I'm talking about Starwood, I've never sold a share of this. I've only bought Starwood, and it's because of its dividend. This to me, I would imagine if we have interest, if the market thinks interest rates are going to go higher, the price of this is probably not going to move higher. Company's totally fine. Dividends totally fine. Add-on weakness for this, for me, has been my strategy from the beginning. But it is what it is. It is what it is here. Best Buy getting mentioned. They reported earnings here today. Take a look. BBY. New highs, Kath. Up 11% on volume after earnings. What do we have on the daily for Best Buy? $76. 76, I think, is going to be the next spot. Best Buy. Liam saying, Ryan, is that a desktop app that you use or is it browser-based? Benzinga Pro, which is what I'm sharing on the screen here, is browser-based. It works on PC, Mac, and Linux and mobile environments. My broker, obviously, is a downloadable app.
Looks like we're getting a poll on a lot of these names here.
How are the memory names doing? I see someone mentioning Micron here. Lion mentioning Micron. Lion saying, if Micron comes back to 900, I will add more.
Yeah, I thought this was going to go to 1,000 this week. We got pretty close, but haven't ticked 1,000. What were we like at? 980, 981, something like that. We got pretty close, and maybe that's as close as we get. But I thought we were going to see 1,000 this week.
So Lion says he's added 800. We spoke to our guest Mike this morning. He said Lion said 900. Our guest said 800. We were kind of outlining how the last pullback to the 20-day moving average was in fact a 20% pullback. So, just because the stock's down 2% doesn't necessarily mean that there's a buy there. Lion, you're quite nimble though. I would imagine that if that trade didn't work for you, you'd be all right on that.
SPRC halted to the downside again.
Okay. Oh, SPRC. Okay. So our ex-girlfriend halted again. Zach here saying Micron, check with Petrino for levels. You know what? That is a quality idea. I feel like it's been a bit since we've asked Mark about that. Let me put that in my note sheet for tomorrow, Zach. Can't believe tomorrow's Friday already. Yo, pro tip, coming back from your vacation on a Thursday is a win move because the weeks are like almost over.
Yeah, but the volume's going to suck.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. I made so much money with Micron. That's true. And that's the other thing. Lion, I don't say that every time, but this is a good thing to mention here. All of these Micron trades that you're making are effectively being done with profit. And they're being done with profit because you're able to trade them in the past, right? So even if you take a loss now, it's not actually like a loss because you're working from profit. So maybe from someone that might not be working with that, maybe that would factor into the risk a little bit more.
Looks like NCT is trying to get a lift here. It's like one of the only ones that's kind of moving to the upside at the moment.
That SPY bounce that kind of looked like a fake out and didn't give me a signal is actually working. The 0 DTE 750 call from today, which would have been my target, moved from $1.02 to $1.40 with the quickness on this bounce. I am not in it. I made exactly 0 pennies on this. So this move looking good. Did not get a signal here, Trey. That might be something for me to take a look at. Andas continuing to scream higher here, and I am here for it. Wait, do I have to trim these calls again?
Big B's thinking we see some resistance at about 270, maybe just before that. 200-day SMAs coming up here, and we're getting a little extended. If we do get resistance there and we come back in like just under 260, I think that's going to be a pretty good opportunity to go long.
Big B's, I love your comment, bro. IBM and looking at this, good Lord, what a move off the 220 low. And it looks like this wants to push higher. This actually looks a little gappy up to 280.
This, and all the quantum names that were part of the CHIPS Act funding. That's why they're moving. It's and IBM was getting half that. Look at GFS; they're supposed to be getting a huge chunk of that as well, and then the rest are going to those quantum names. Geez, yeah, GFS that's been taken off since April.
Hey, so is it, really quick, just looking at the chart here, GFS, if this can hold 79, which is a 20-day, it can't, or excuse me, this is the 9 EMA. I beg your pardon. I have the same color as my 20-day. I'm sorry. If this holds 79, is this a long here?
Look at the price action from 2022. Let's back out a little bit more. Do you not have, please tell me.
No, I do. The chart's just got to load because I'm on a daily formation here. 13. Hang on. We're going to get this. We're going to get this. Tom says, I trimmed my July red wire. Kohl's is still holding a couple. Okay, so you're doing good. So you trimmed your red wire after a nice move, and you're still holding Kohl's. That's making a decent move here today. You know what? I'm going to give you a register ring for that trim. Here's 2022, 13. It just took a refresh.
Yeah, so where we're coming down to. Yeah.
No wonder you told me to look at that.
Yeah. So that looks like a support area right in there.
Okay.
Thinking, to me, it looks more like 75 is going to be the better spot. So maybe between 75 and 80 is what I would kind of put it at. But I think 75 is going to be stronger.
Microsoft had a 10-point move out of the open. I got asked about Microsoft earlier. I had said if this thing can retest and hold 400, I'd be interested in it for a swing long with a tight stop on it.
Microsoft and Dell thought they got some Pentagon contracts, right? And that's why they're moving. I thought that's what the news was.
Dell Technologies trading higher, suggesting the company secured a 5-year, $9.7 billion Pentagon contract.
Yeah, that's the news I'm referring to.
Look at this chart on Dell.
Well, I mean, Trump did say buy Dell.
Yeah, he did.
So people listened. How APLD is not bouncing? I mean, I don't understand what you're looking at here. It's like it's been rallying over the past couple of months. And you've got some pullbacks here. I guess I'm kind of, you're asking about the valuation. I mean, or are you just talking about intraday?
Sorry to interrupt here real quick. Microsoft, oh, you know what? These are call and put sweeps. Let me think about that a little. It's 13. I'm sorry for interrupting you. I thought those were all call sweeps there coming across the wire from Microsoft.
But to answer your question on the valuation, it's probably because this company's not profitable. It loses hundreds. It loses a ton of money. It doesn't matter what their revenue is. The revenue is one thing. If they're not turning a profit, that's completely different. This company hasn't reported a profitable quarter. It doesn't look like, or it hasn't had a profitable year yet. I'm going back to 2022. I don't have data going before that, but this is not a profitable company. They do make some good revenue, but loses money.
Snow, it looks like you got a little bit of a pull, but we're basically right back to the trading area or to the pre-market range area here. So not great. I guess that would have just been a short scalp there. Not a great move there on Snow. Redwire, this pulled back off the 26 area. RCAT, this is part of the drone theme. This is still up near highs. Ondas still up near highs. Here's UMAC. We'll check that. UMAC still up, still within the triangle too. Lion long UMAC 30 calls that expire November. Is that a new buy? Can't remember. IBM calls up over 100%. Big B's having another great day. Kathy looking at ticker PUSA. Got to be careful about how I read that one. This actually popped out of its pre-market for. So this is interesting, Kath, because if this thing makes a move back towards its VWAP, you might have something here. What does this do? Greenway Holdings. What is the story on this one? Sorry for being out of the loop. Public golf course clubs in Florida.
Well, hold on. It says that, but then you read the news headlines and it's talking about Pentagon drone dominance program and how they're selected. So what do they do again?
Yeah, this I would say until we know a little bit more about this, probably just a trading vehicle. This might be something to look into, though. I can have AI help me with that when I get some free time later today, if I get it.
I feel like this is, where some of the Pentagon drone deals are being made on the golf course, but I don't know. I mean, it says that it's a golf, it's in hotels, restaurants, and leisure, but it's clearly got news headlines regarding drones.
And Lion, your UMAC 30 November calls, that was a new position here today. Okay.
Yeah, I think we looked at this one time. We were laughing about it as well, but it might have been much earlier this month. Really weird. Really weird. Oh, Power S is merging with Arias Greenway. So it's like a drone company merged with this hotel, whatever company. Yeah, that requires some more reading. I'm not going to do right now.
Yeah, that's going to require a little bit of research. So that's kind of why I moved from it. But that's a good task here. By the way, I am now starting to see even more Microsoft calls. So before, when I talked about this, it looks like they were splitting the buys between the calls and the puts. It is just call sweeps now. Microsoft continues to push higher. Here's a nice move for Microsoft, 3.5%, up about 14 points today.
That looks awesome. Where's AMD at? AMD's been awesome as well. It trended a little bit more at 500.
Do you remember when Zoltan first started talking about a potential $800 price target by 2030 and he got laughed at? Who's laughing now?
Who's laughing now?
It's 2026. This thing's $500. Yeah. It's just Zoltan. You were all, if you're out there, man, you were all over that. All over that. Palantir, this is at the highs. This actually, that was kind of under the radar here today, but that's at the highs.
And we'll have to double check where he was getting that from, because as I recall, he was hearing that from JP Morgan about AMD going.
I'll ask him a follow-up on that.
And I think at first they were talking about 300, and then they later revised it to 800. So we're on our way.
Market Sniper talking about Mask here. I got stopped out. I got greedy on Mask. I should have sold it at 270. So there'll be another one. Maybe a possible VWAP bounce here. VWAP 221. We're still 21 cents above that. Power Us is development kind of unmanned aircraft. That's one from the drone headline, right?
That's the company that's merging with the golf course company.
And that was part of the Wall Street Journal article. The Wall Street Journal article that moved drones named Neros and Unusual Machines as companies in the funding talks. It also appears to discuss Power Us and related coverage about the Trump's family drone business activity. But that was from a different article, not from the Wall Street Journal one. There you go, Kath. So it looks like that is involved in all of this too. And that's why we're seeing that stock move. PUSA. Cool. Well, we got to the bottom of that one.
Yeah.
Dara says, what's the definition of greed? I'm up 715% in QTEX. Well, let me ask you what your plan is before I make a judgment on you. 715%. That means that you were a buyer when this thing was a penny stock. It's at $2. This is what I would say. I did this with Ondas. Despite having a very, very long-term view on Ondas, I still decided that when it made an outsized move, the trader in me everything I've learned throughout the course of my career, got to book some of those gains. So Dara, I would ask you what your plan is here. Do you have any method of booking gains? I mean, if you're up 700%, you could sell just a chunk of that position and make the rest of it free. You don't even have to sell half.
I think, greed is, when you're sitting on gains like that, the stock is still going up and you've broken your rules to let it go up. Like you had a trade plan, you have rules about where you're taking gains, and you said, no, I'm going to let this thing ride. I think that's the definition of greed. When you break your rules. But that's just me. Well, it's not looking like there's a whole lot to latch onto at the moment.
Dara, I'm gonna read this one. Pardon the language. My plan was that retail is obsessed with quantum right now, and I'm clueless because I know quantum is full of shit, but people love it. My plan is already gone, so I got nada. Here's what I would say. I kind of had the same opinion of you, and I guess the full of bleep comment has to do more with the timeline. I might be moving off that a little bit. So I think that this might actually be a little bit more near term than initially thought. I would still advise that you book some of those gains.
Well, first of all, quantum's not BS. It's going to be here a lot sooner than people think.
See, that's what I'm saying. I'm moving to that thought. 13.
And I'll even make a very bold call here. You can come back to if you want years later. But I think because this whole AI theme, we've talked about how this is going to go on for a while. Like I've been saying into the 2030s. I think the 2030s are going to be more of a quantum era. I think that's what's going to keep tech going. So we'll see. But that's what I think we're going to start seeing is we're going to see quantum in the 2030s.
I would not be shocked if we end up seeing that. SPRC looks like that's trying to go to the highs. I thought you were going to say greed is good. Dr. Manred, I probably should have quoted Wall Street, huh? Since that's what got me into this. Probably should have quoted it right there. That was a good call. Lion here saying anything option or stock gives me 100% or more, I sell half and I play with the casino money. Lion, I'm the same way. On options, it's pretty much 100%. I'm selling partial. On stock, it's a little bit different depending on my plan and how much I own. But I never think that's it. Look, taking profit is never a bad idea. Zach, you were saying how when you don't sell and you look for more gains, the stock comes back and you feel like a noob. We've all been there, man. We've all been there. Trailing stop from Trout Bum. That's not a bad plan.
I used a lot of that yesterday.
There you go. Kohl's, Dollar Tree, and Best Buy all higher. Burlington Stores, ticker BURL, is lower. So we talked about the retail theme earlier. Burlington lower after its earnings, although this is up off the lows by 23 points. So this is already bouncing.
Dara, you should stick to your plan. That's what you should do.
One more thing here. Well, two more things real quick. Bitcoin, new fresh lows. So our risk on indicator not helping us at all today. Also, we talked with Mike earlier regarding protection. And one of the things he said is, it's not even the VIX being near 20. Protection isn't even that expensive. VIX is now 16. So protection got even cheaper today. Might be something to look into.
Think about Ford as a battery play. Wait, I mean, I don't know about as a battery play. I'd have to go and look at Ford and see what they're doing with EVs. Because the last I recall reading about is that they had to scrap all of their Kentucky EV plants, all the plans they had for that. Haven't really dove into Ford since then. But I would think that if we do finally get this,
Iran war wrapped up and a deal made and all that, that Ford and GM and Stellantis will do really well. Ford's already kind of taken off.
FYI, my SPY 0 DTE indicator did flash multiple trade to buy signals. So this is the second trade window. And I didn't take it, but I do have 2 buy signals there. S&P looks like it is trying to push higher here. S&P futures have bounced clean off the VWAP on the 15. Really needs to, S&P futures really kind of need to take out 75.41, I feel like, to move higher. What about race and the huge flop? Let's take a look at that real quick, Zach, because we talked about race, I feel like, right before I left on vacation.
We did.
Yeah, and the chart was set up. So here we go. So that's the monthly. Let's go back to the daily. Here's what we're thinking on race. So we actually, this, Zach, excuse me. This is one that I definitely want to buy, but I'll be honest. I'm trying to be very careful on this one. I've got 2 buy zones on here. That's the blue sideways areas. We have been dipping into this top one here. Now, I have no position on this, but I am thinking if this continues to kind of hold this area here, I think we probably turn around. Did anyone see the new all-electric Ferrari that they released the design of?
No.
It is ugly.
The thing that I've been on with Ferrari is the monthly chart, because there were folks in happy hour that were looking to take a trade, and they succeeded with this. So can't really fault them for that. But the caution that I was trying to express was if this loses or if this closes on a monthly chart under 330, I think there's certainly some lower prints to be had. So far, it's been holding up and not entering that channel. We've got prints in there, but we haven't closed inside that channel yet. The problem that I have with this is that we're still not able to recapture that 50-month SMA. So those are a couple of things I'm waiting to see what happens first. If we get a recapture and close above that 50-month SMA, I think we're recovering. If we lose 330 and close beneath that, I think we're diving further into that channel.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good breakdown here on the chart. Just kind of looking at this monthly 13. I'd love to get a close above the 50 month. That might help confirm a curl here. And we just don't have that yet. So to your point, maybe that's something that we could kind of wait for there for a trigger. A couple of things here. Chicago Realtor, I'm in the exact same camp you are. I would rather buy a house for 600K than the ugly Ferrari. I am with you on that. Yo, go find me a house and we'll put that down payment on that. Yeah. Forget the Ferrari, dude. Forget it. Don't need it. Zach saying the Ferrari was actually a good advert for Tesla. Because you're saying it was ugly and people like Tesla, so they kind of advertised for a competitive. That's an interesting thought. I still want to trade that stock, though. I still would love to make a bunch of money off Ferrari. Make enough to buy one would be something, but that might be a little bit in the future here.
Maybe with options.
I'll tell you what, those race options are illiquid. Those are tough. All right, let me keep running through some of these here. Let's see what we got. We've got 19 minutes. Boy, I'll tell you what, first day back, I feel like I blinked and this show was almost over. I am so happy that you folks are back here. I just want to thank everybody for being patient so 13 and I could get some time away. I know we it kind of happened in the middle of the week there. I'm sorry about that. We're back, though. It's going to be a good summer, and I'm happy to see all you folks. Here's Ondas doing its best to hold on to 13. Redwire, boy, that gave a lot back. CODX above 11. Ooh, CODX, 12 coming here.
Any energy plays based upon earnings calls? No. We could certainly try and look for something.
Whoa, big pop in SPY. Did we get something?
Let's see. We'll come back to that. Oh, wow, look at this go here.
That's what I'm saying. Guys, something is happening here. If you were in the SPY trade, Gratz. Yeah, no. Guys, here I don't have my squawk on. Something has to be going on. That candle was something else. By the way,
That's
if
fine.
you were in those SPY 0 DTE calls, please trim them if you haven't already.
Now it was kind of give it back pretty quick too, or some of it.
Let me see if I've got anything. I'm looking here, folks.
Most of Iran's proposals accepted, or is it Iran accepted most of our U.S.'s proposals? Which who's going to say what?
Yeah, U.S. and Iran reach deal, but need Trump's final approval. Okay, so I'll just say this: we've talked about this being, Trump being a wild card, saying whatever he wants, this, that, and the other thing. This is not done unless we have that approval. And so Lion here saying it's a trap. It's a trap. I don't know if this is actually a trap. I mean, if he comes out and says this, the market's going to take another leg higher here. But good Lord, this is looking good so far.
It might be a sell the news event when we get that confirmation that deals are accepted. So there's also that as well. A retro, I'll look at bot in just a second. Can-Amp was asking 13 online, is there any good play in geothermal or hydrogen energy? I would look at Chevron. They've got a lot of geothermal plays. I think they're also trying to make a presence for themselves in the Salton Sea in California. That's another thing. Look in the Salton Sea in California. I think there's several other geothermal companies out there, and I can't think of the names, but I know that Berkshire Hathaway is a part of one of them. So look at some of those projects in the Salton Sea. I think that's one spot to look at there. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, more news coming out on this. It is, in fact, Trey, good stuff. 60-day agreement. U.S. and Iran have reached a 60-day memorandum of understanding to extend the ceasefire and launch nuclear negotiations. That's what your pop is coming on.
As far as hydrogen, so the only thing that I would think of for hydrogen when it comes to using that as an energy source is going to be fuel cells. If we're talking about using that as like a source for, like burning fuel, that's going to be tough. Hydrogen's very difficult to deal with because it's a small molecule and it can leak a lot. So I don't know how great hydrogen's going to be, but I do have some interesting ones on the natural gas side. Take a look at NPWR. I like this one, and it's going to be more longer term, but take a look at that one. And that's supposed to be a net zero clean energy play that burns natural gas.
Yeah, so just with this deal here, initial knee-jerk reaction, we got a good pop, so that should have been good for trading there. Definitely utilize that to exit some of the trades that are profitable, just from a strategy perspective. Obviously, follow your own risk parameters always. But that's what's going on here. I just want to reiterate, not official yet. Definitely sounds good on the surface, not official yet. Richard, you were asking who the source was. I got a couple here.
Axios, which is good.
Yeah. Axios, I think, is one of the main ones here. It's a coin flip for me on Axios, but that's my own personal thing. You should not use my own personal feelings in your trading. The reality here is that we're getting a nice up move on this. Now, whether or not you think this is going to hold, that's going to be up to you.
Yeah, and it says 2 U.S. officials tell Axios. So
yeah,
who are those officials?
Yep. That's a good read through 13.
And did they speak to Axios on the condition of anonymity?
And see, Joe's asking the $64,000 question just in black and white here. How many times have we seen these bogus ceasefires and claims of an agreement? We have a certain partner that won't be satisfied until Iran is devoid of any leverage. Well, that's definitely the goal here. Here's the thing. I'm with you. The market seems to be buying this right here. All I'm saying to you is just be careful. Be careful. And if you were trading this, if you were being nimble, this is definitely an opportunity to book some.
Even if there is an agreement, I don't think we're done with this at all.
I think that you're right. I think that you're right, 13. We'll see if Ondas can pop back through 13. Some more details coming out about this. The U.S. official said this means no tolls and no harassment. That again came from Axios, so probably from the same source, 13. Also, Iran would have to remove Hormuz mines within 30 days. I can't even figure out how many mines are there. I heard that there was some, and then there wasn't some.
There's a question here. I saw Selena, maybe 190. That's possible. But before you go jumping into this, I would certainly read into what's going on with this company and what their time horizon is for having a plant that actually produces revenue. Everything that they've got going on so far is looking great, and there's a final investment decision that is going to be wrapped up by the end of it should be in the second half of this year, and that's going to tell us if they're going to be able to even move forward or not. But with what this company has going on, if everything is successful, I think this is going to be fantastic. That's just me. Certainly, before you take a position in this, read into what Empower does and what they've got going on. I think this could be, it could be the end of green energy if this ends up, coming to fruition.
Real quick here, Feds Musalem said that they took it off the Chiron here. Let me see if I can find that. That was an interesting quote. Feds Musalem was basically saying if productivity here, let me see if I can grab it from this. Here we go. Feds Musalem says the Fed's real policy rate is below the long-run neutral rate. Longer-term inflation expectations are drifting up. Labor market is stable. Caution warranted in the face of upward inflation pressures. Need vigilant focus on returning inflation to the Fed's 2% target. So that number hasn't changed. He is prepared to adjust policy views if evidence becomes clear that higher productivity growth is likely to ease inflation pressure. Okay, so to 13, you tell me what you think here. Musalem, to me, my read through on this is that he's saying that if the AI productivity boom is legit, then we can re-examine cutting and easing inflation pressures.
Okay.
That's my read on it. I'm just giving you my opinion here from what Musalem said. I just find it interesting because that happened at the same time we got this deal news that sent the market higher. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't even want to, comment on what the Fed's saying until we get the FOMC meeting.
Totally fair. Totally fair. Just going knee-jerk reaction there to the...
because I want to see how Warsh is going to handle his first meeting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And what he's going to say, because we might hear a lot more about quantitative tightening than rate decisions. So I mean, I want to see what he's going to say first here before.
Yeah. So pump the brakes. So pump the brakes and don't let the Fed comments change your target. I like that. I like that. Lunar, by the way, this is back higher here. Lunar, this is, we talked about this a little bit earlier. This back to where it was on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Scott, you in Lunar, you looking for a break above 45?
Yeah, I'm not going to sit and wait for headlines from him, Lion.
Yeah. Yep. Let's just focus on what we have in front of us. Trump asked for a few days to think about the final deal. Perfect. You know what that means? That means he's
probably going to hold
that over the weekend.
Yep. That means that we're good to go into the weekend.
That means tomorrow's trading session may be interesting.
Yeah, so we'll probably hear about his decision on Sunday evening.
Sunday evening, right after the futures open.
Right.
CNBC reporting deal. Kathy, is it your observation that our show beat CNBC? Asking for a friend?
Yeah, this isn't it's a pretty good day, and I think as Big Abees was saying before he split, don't overtrade.
Yeah.
I think I'm right there with him. I was sitting on my hands yesterday after the morning because I had a good open, and then I was just like, things are kind of a little weird and slow. I'm just gonna wait and see what this next hour gives me. So I don't think that's a bad idea. If things aren't setting up or if it's not looking great, don't try to force anything.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's smart. I think that Big Abees, I'll tell you something, that dude's awesome. And he has played 2025 and 2026 about as well as you can. Captain Cloudy says he sold the pop. Captain Cloudy, we've already retraced about 30% of that pop. So seems like a good deal there.
Make room for the drones, right, Retro?
Do we have more? More information coming out. MOU includes Iran's commitment not to pursue nuclear weapons.
That's all I've got to say about that.
U.S. officials at the Treasury Department are pushing to create a $250 bill. I'll give you one guess who's going to appear on that bill.
You don't need a $250 bill.
No, we don't. I'd keep a couple of them in my wallet just because it's cool, though. I remember when the new 100 came out, I was working at a bank back then. We got a delivery of them. I was like, well, this might be one of the coolest bills I ever saw.
And now you wish you probably had hold on to those older ones, huh?
Actually, yeah. Yeah.
Thoughts on VRT? About time this thing started showing some weakness.
Matthew says, Ryan, did you register Ring for yourself? No, I generally don't do it for myself. I try to do it for others. Sometimes I get excited and do it for myself. I did not give myself one today. I gave it to the group today. To
expand a little bit more on Vertiv, this thing, I regret not taking a position when I was, looking at it and thinking about it and saying how great this could be. And, I went and did something else. Don't even remember what it was, but this went on a fantastic run. I would say there's more downside coming if this loses that 50-day SMA. That has been a moving average that this has been riding up all year, providing support even in the weakest of times. Nice. Also provided support when it had that island back from February into March. So that 50-day SMA, I mean, that's a big support area. You lose that, I think we're coming in to fill that gap at the end of, at the beginning of April.
Wolf, WULF, this continues to move higher here.
I think
Xena. Oh, this is momentous from earlier. Xenatech. We've interviewed this company a few times. That is looking nice.
Disposable drones. I mean, this thing just recently printed an all-time low, so nice to see it rebound, I guess. Because it had a massive drop on Friday, or a couple of Fridays ago, I guess. Looks to me like resistance is going to be about 180. Hopefully it doesn't do one.
Okay, let's see where we're at here. 3 minutes until the end. Let's see. Where did the time go? Tom, I'm wondering the same thing. You guys are telling me to ring a register for myself. If you folks give me permission, then I will oblige. It's 10:30. I'm going to take a nap. Lion, I'll tell you what. You got a pretty decent life, my man. You have a pretty decent life. Nap at 10:30 on a non-vacation day. You played your cards right, buddy. Corey says, I'm glad you guys are back. Corey, I am glad that I am back. Actually, I was talking to my mom yesterday. She's like, are you excited to go back to work? I'm like, you might not believe me, but yes, I am.
Kathy, Dell, I mean, I don't know that I'd be a buyer up here at Dell. This has got an 80 RSI. Yeah, it's got earnings, but this could be, we can see selling off this earnings with the way this is run up into them. I don't know that I would want to. I don't think I would want to be a player for the earnings up here with Dell. Maybe to the downside, but not for an upside move. Not this run into earnings. I think that carries tremendous risk.
Thank you, Veggie Girl. We are glad to be back. Trey is saying, is Lion in the BZ Pro chat? Lion is not in the BZ Pro chat. Despite his mountain of money that he just piles up in his backyard, he has not spent any on Pro. I will say, Lion's very opinionated. I don't know that it would go over very well in the Pro chat. Just a guess. But we're lucky to have Lion right here. So no worries there. Retro, enjoy your pump at the gym. Have a good one. Dr. Manred says no more vacations for you. Dr. Manred, I can appreciate where you're coming from here. I'm going to use this very moment to remind the entire group that last year, actually the year before, because last year we had to retool the show. The year before, I took off vacation between Christmas and New Year's. I literally took paid time off with the company. They approved it and everything. And then I did the show anyway, because I didn't want people to not have the show. Last year, we obviously had to make some changes, so I couldn't do that. But my next vacation is, in fact, that same week. And I don't know about 13, but I think I'll be available for that. All right, 13. We are out of time here today, but that's okay because we are so back. And we're going to be back again tomorrow. Do you have any closing words for the group today?
Folks, it's been a wonderful time back here with y'all, and I look forward to tomorrow. We're going to find some more big movers that had a really good time with in the past week. So stay tuned. We're going to get some more ideas. We're going to make some more money. It'll be a good time. I'll see y'all tomorrow for the end of the week. Goodbye.
All right, 13, great stuff. It's good to be back with you, man. Have a great rest of your day. We'll catch you tomorrow. That is 13, folks. And again, I'm just going to thank all of you folks again for being patient with us. We are back. We're back tomorrow. We're back next week. I already talked to Anne Marie, who's available for tomorrow. We're going to have Mark Petrino on tomorrow as well. We're going to get everything ready for you. And then we're going to go off into the weekend and be back 100% with the producer next week. Folks, have a great rest of your Thursday. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll catch you.